Hello everyone, my name is the Command Line Volpine, and I am the creator of the QR Human All Tomorrows theory. It's coming up on 1 year since I made the original video, and it's the biggest video I've ever seen on my channel. I basically seem to catch fire where I made just the right video at exactly the right time, and it did incredibly well. To celebrate its anniversary, I thought I would go through and read the comments and answer your questions personally. I did answer most of these with direct replies already, but I thought we'd go through them again. There's some things I didn't reply to. We have over 900 comments here. Well, almost 900 comments. Let's sort by newest first, because the top comments I've definitely replied to, so let's go with the newest ones and work our way down. Also, there's a disclaimer that some of these questions, they might not be really answerable. There's the reason why I don't reply to some questions is because I don't know what the question actually is. Such as Blur here, who has the newest question. Other animals would at least be here too. I don't know what he's talking about. Wait, if this is what happened to humans, what happened to other animals? Did they die? Blur asks, wait, if this is what happened to humans, what happened to other animals? Did they die? The answer to that is no. We don't necessarily know what happened to all the Earth animals. We do know that, for instance, that the striders, they had chickens on their planet, and those chickens evolved into like T-Rex chickens and killed them. So some animals are still out there for sure, but who knows what's happened to them. It's not stated in the video. It's not stated in the book. And then as far as my theory goes, I don't think it would change anything about the animals. All right. J. John Malloy asks, if Cleopatra lived closer to the opening of the first Taco Bell and the creation of the Great Pyramids of Giza, doesn't that give credit to claims that humanity has existed for over 11K years? What about the intentionally buried ruins that seem to date beyond that time? That will take another 20 years to finish unearthing. Humanity is credited by most credible archaeological minds to have existed for over 5K years. Where are you getting that number? So this seems to be something that was misinterpreted in my video, where people confused me saying how long civilization has existed versus how long humanity has existed. Like, I'm almost getting accused of thinking that the Earth is like 6,000 years old. Very not true. Humanity has actually been around for millions of years, so it's kind of weird that he's saying like 11K years. Like that's nowhere close either. What I meant to talk about was civilization. I used the number 3000 BC, and the reason I used 3000 BC is that was a date that my history teacher told me was a very important date at like the very start of the class, where we were talking about some of the oldest civilizations, and I believe that is basically when the pyramids were built, which is what I was trying to get with. And yeah, that point I was making didn't really have anything to do with how old humanity was. That point is just that we think of Cleopatra and the pyramids as both being ancient Egypt, so we assume that they are around the same time period, but it's actually the pyramids are so ancient that they are further away in time from Cleopatra than she is from the opening of the first Taco Bell, which is just one of those really weird concepts of deep time that kind of just proves the point that the human mind can't really comprehend deep time properly, which is what the whole All Tomorrow story is all about. The Dealmaker 2 Electric Boogaloo says, the Q really pulled a Better Call Saul. I watched Better Call Saul and I love the show. I don't know what you mean though. I don't know what they did in particular that is them pulling a Better Call Saul. Milk Duds 1001 says, here's a theory I have. Q are humans, but humans from the past. What if human society continued long before Earth? Us humans on Earth are just genetically modified and evolved over time. Maybe the Q are descended from original humans or evolved genetic experiments themselves. Seems to be a cycle, and it's foolish to assume humans originated on Earth in this context. After all, how many of these forms seem grotesque, but not to them? A bug face would probably be less disgusted if it saw an Earth human. So I don't know the full implication of what he's trying to say here, or her. I have no idea. But it sounds like they're saying like humans existing in the deep time history of Earth, and that's a concept that's actually explored by like Lord of the Rings, actually, of all things. Middle Earth is actually Earth, but it's like from so many millions of years ago that the structure of the Earth was different, like the plate tectonics and stuff. It was like more like when Pangea happened, or even probably way before Pangea, because there's been several cycles of different Pangeas and continental drifts and stuff, and that in one of those eras humans evolved also, and got to the medieval tech level. So that seems to be kind of what he's suggesting here as an idea, and that maybe the Q were descended from those humans. That could be, but it also seems like there's that shrimp from the Cambrian era that people talk about. Like, this thing looks a lot like the Q. So if I were to say that there's anything like from ancient Earth that could have evolved into the Q, it would definitely be this thing, as opposed to maybe humans having evolved at an earlier date, would be my guess. Maybe they had been uplifted by another species, kind of like how they downlift intelligent creatures that they find, which could be an interesting idea. But I don't think they evolved in humans in quite that manner. That alien says, I feel the United Galaxies, asteromorphs, Amphicephali, and others all morphed into Q-like gravitals. Asteromorphs, Amphicephali, and others. So they're saying, it seems like what they're saying here is at the end, past the end of the story, that all these creatures evolved into Q-like gravitals. Yeah, that could happen, because the most efficient way to expand into like deep space, especially if they're going to start traveling between galaxies and everything, is to be in a mechanical body, right? To just be machine intelligence that can be uploaded at light speed one way or the other. I guess they have faster than light travel at the end of all tomorrow, so that might not matter as much anymore. But the ability for mechanical life to survive what biological life can't makes a lot of sense. Although I don't know if the asteromorphs would do it, because they probably really hate the gravitals. So I don't think they would want to become more like them. Finally, a theory about all tomorrow says, Mantramator, thank you. The Q image resembles a virus attacking a cell. Guessing they're meaning the legendary image. This one? Yeah, I could see it. Cells are generally round. Viruses attack cells, penetrate the membrane, and stick their own DNA in, which kind of makes sense because the Q are manipulating DNA. Whether or not that was what he was going for here, though, I don't know. I think the main thing is that like the Vitruvian Man represents like the ideal human. Was I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo da Vinci's ideal with this drawing, and then it's flipped on its head, and the Q are showing their superiority over us using their gun that assumably shoots some kind of like genetically modifying bullets. But that's a theory for its own video, I would say. But yeah, I can see the resemblance that you mean there. Matt's Lego channel says these can SCPs or also backrooms. I'm guessing that he's meaning here that these could be an SCP or be seen in the backroom. And yeah, I could see them being used in some kind of horror fashion of that kind. Brug, the rediscovery of Earth was actually a major deal to the future humans, especially after the Q War, which did untold damage to the universe at large. It was the first and only time an abandoned homeworld was rediscovered after trillions of years of evolution. The terrestrials weren't meant to be ruled as kings, more as peacekeepers. Some of them just got in over their heads and decided to oppose an iron rule. Not to mention the asteromorphs were merciful enough to not only give subjects back to their free will and fix up their effed up genetic code, but gave gravitals new bodies made of nanobots. Asteromorphs, after becoming basically gods, would never become anything like the Q or gravitals, as seen by how they treated the universe after the Q War. The entire species vanished. This includes subjects, the new machine race, and the asteromorphs. There weren't literal dinosaur bones on other planets. They are fossils and living specimens of creatures strikingly similar to those found on planets they could not have evolved on. There's a lot to unpack here. I'll get through it all. As in, there were carbon-based animals with calcium bones on a planet with sulfur-based life and no bones. We have no idea what the Q's carapace is made of, but the leaps of it being fleshy to being asteromorphs is a large one to make. Okay, this is not one question, it's several. By the way, there's an error with my webcam. It has to have this auto exposure feature on, otherwise it won't be in 60 FPS. Here it is without auto exposure on, but it's limited to 30 FPS, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's extremely annoying. I know it's annoying to see, but I think 30 FPS is a lot more distracting than just the image flashing white sometimes. Okay, the rediscovery of Earth is actually a major deal. So, no, it wasn't. And this is going to be a theme too, is people thinking I didn't read the book, but they need to reread the book because they're just wrong. The rediscovery of Earth was extremely unimportant. Well, I feel it's important, but they did not. Earth rediscovered. You can read all of this if you want, but we're going to go to return. Okay. The discovery of Earth sparked a certain amount of interest, though nowhere near as much as other breakthroughs had. We don't know what they're talking about as far as other breakthroughs means. I'm guessing like faster than light travel, because they brought up that and they brought up wormholes and stuff. So compared to the other achievements, they don't care. To most humans of the cosmos, their ancestral birthplace was simply an interesting piece of information, a piece of trivia with which they had lost all ties. Still, a ship was sent forth and it landed without ceremony. Again, not very important. For now, there was no intelligence left on Earth. Too far away from the main centers of population, it had been completely ignored, gone stagnant and feral, but it was still home. When the explorers set out, humans tread on Earth once more after an absence of 560 million years. Yeah, it was not important. So you need to reread the story. I'm sorry. Well, I feel it's important, but in the context of the universe, all the new human races just didn't care anymore. It had been too long and they just didn't matter. I don't necessarily know that's the first time an abandoned homeworld was discovered. That could have happened with other races, it just hasn't said. Terrestrials weren't meant to rule as kings, more to be keyscapers. Pretty sure I said this. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I said in the recap, but maybe this person skipped the recap and just looked at the theory part. Some of them just got over their heads and decided to pose an iron rule. I don't think it was some, because I looked at this recently too. It's actually directly phrased that all terrestrials always became corrupt. Wonder why it says a new terrestrial. That's the machines, terrestrials. Most of the time, newborn races refused to heed their mentors, and in several cases even rebelled against them. Needless to say, the crime was always punished with a swift extinction. Furthermore, even the terrestrials grew corrupted. This is an all-encompassing sentence. It doesn't say some became corrupted. It says even the terrestrials. Instead of offering guidance, terrestrials on many planets, many, not some, grew corrupted. Instead of offering guidance, played God, even contrived origins around themselves, or explaining their software. It was not ethical or even productive. This method seemed to guarantee more stability than actually trying to bring up the new race. So yeah, most of them, at least most of them, if not all, became corrupted. Asteromorphs were merciful, not to mention the asteromorphs were merciful enough to not only give subjects back their free will and fix up their genetic code, but gave Gravitals new bodies made of nanobots. So they didn't give them back their free will. That was the whole point of the terrestrials, was to keep the populaces in line, and they always became corrupt rulers and god kings and stuff. So basically no society had free will, and if they had free will, the asteromorphs wiped them out. That's what it said, because they didn't want a giant galactic war again, so they just put out any type of resistance of any kind. Gave the Gravitals new bodies, made them nanobots. I think they did that, but I think they also neutered the machines, right? Follow the machines. Okay, it doesn't say what they did to them there. The new machines. At the aftermath of the war, the asteromorphs had planned to exterminate every last one of them, only to discover they were too useful. For millions of years, they had perfected the interface between mind and machine. To such an extent they can live and operate in inhospitable conditions. That's talking about the Gravitals. Such beings would make invaluable contributions to research and exploration. Sense of poetic justice. Machines who distort life forms to their will were treated to a similar fate. Asteromorphs completely scrapped their ability of self-contained gravitational manipulation, the very force that rendered them invulnerable in the first place. They were given finite lifespans and slightly numbed imaginations that history would not repeat itself. The derogatory nature of these changes, however, did not imply overall progression. Endowed with nanotechnological bodies, so that much is true. Come in any size and shape. By their versatility, machines were never common or prominent, even after completely accepting the role. History had ingrained in organics too much of a distrust of their mechanical neighbors, and so the new machines were always treated with a degree of discrimination. So I guess what they were trying to say here was that the asteromorphs were more nice than I framed them as. Not really. They kind of numbed their ability to think and stuff. They did give them new bodies, but they also they have changed their minds and stuff. So I'm not sure that'd be necessarily a fair deal. Asteromorphs, after becoming gods, would never become anything like the Q or Gravitals, seeing how they treated the universe after the Q War. No, that's the whole point of the story, is that humanity keeps doing the same thing over and over. They keep effing themselves over and doing terrible, horrible things to each other. We just read about the terrestrials always becoming corrupt. If any of the new humans acted out, the asteromorphs would come in and wipe them out of existence. Yeah, they are just as bad as everyone else. They just didn't have anyone left to come punish them for it. The entire species vanished, including the subjects and the machine races and asteromorphs. We'll have to check that. I don't know. I think he just isn't that specific. Mankind, the very species I've been chronicling from its terrestrial infancy, is extinct. All the beings in the preceding pages from the Lonely Worm to the Sail People, the Gravital, lie a billion years dead. Only beginning a piece of story together. What you read is our best approximation of the truth. Okay. That is true. The thing is, the worm evolved the snake people were killed out by gravitals. It's like most of the humans were already dead. And the gravitals were kind of turned into just like computers and stuff. They still had like vague sense of free will, but not really. The terrestrials were still around, and then new humans based off the bug people were still around. But look at this, a journey to somewhere else sometime. Think you are human? They went into the past? Just saying. But yeah, I guess necessarily not just the asteromorphs disappeared, but the other stuff did too that was still alive. I don't know. That's at least a good point, I would say. There weren't literal dinosaur planet bones on other planets. There are fossils and living creatures similar to dinosaurs on other planets, found in planets they couldn't have evolved from. They were evolved from an Earth dinosaur, or it's not a dinosaur, is it? It's because that's like another point that people made, is it's like it's not a dinosaur. It's a Ice Age mammal type of thing. Pandaverus. Does it say what the bones came from? They're a xenosaur. I guess it is a dinosaur. It's not a lizard. It's this thing. Lived 7 million years ago. So yeah, it is. Late Cretaceous period. So this is the time period that I'm saying that the asteromorphs went back in time to and picked up the Therizinosaur from. So it's evolved. The Pandavarius is evolved from the Therizinosaur. So it wasn't literal dinosaur bones. It's the evolved version of that dinosaur. It's still, that's the point. Like, I think that's self-explanatory. I don't think I needed to clarify that because of the amount of time that had passed. Directly similar to dinosaurs found on planets. That's not true. It's from Earth. It's evolved from a Therizinosaur directly that they couldn't evolve from. They're carbon-based with calcium bones. They aren't. The planet didn't have sulfur-based life forms, though. It was copper bones. Every other creature on the colony world had 3 limbs, a copper-based skeletal system, while the Pandavarius was a terrestrial vertebrate. So yeah, just correcting the record on that one. Have no idea what all the Q's carapace is made of, but the leap from it being fleshy to asteromorphs is a wide thing to make. This is just the comparison that I made that we gotta keep going, y'all. I used to have all these pictures downloaded so I could just bounce between them, but it's not true anymore. This picture, can I not? Why is this picture only half loaded? I guess that's the whole thing. Kind of weird formatting thing going on there. But this picture is basically a 1-to-1 copy of the picture we had just previously looked at of the Q. And yeah, if we go to like the end of my video, because I think I put it at the very end. Helluski. And this is a composite image that, I guess that's why I thought there was more to this picture, is because it matches up exactly with the gravital image to add up to a full picture. Fun fact, the filter over this image is Kozeman took a picture through a beer. That's why it's all bubbly and stuff. And then, yeah, I made the comparison that all these things kind of add up. Remember, the point is, like, I know we're going to get a lot of comments that this is a brain, not wings. The brain, not wings. The brain, not wings. It's brain, not wings. The point is the bodily structures are here for them to evolve from. Things don't evolve from nowhere unless there's genetic modification involved, which is a thing in this series. So for one thing, they can always just change their DNA however the heck they want. So that's one thing. The other thing is the way evolution works is things that you have can change to be more effective in some sort of way, right? Or become obsolete, but still in your body for no reason, because evolution doesn't take things away. It has to build on top of itself. So yeah, these things might just be a big brain thing right now, right? But wouldn't it be evolutionarily useful for that brain thing to be able to flap? Wouldn't it be evolutionarily useful for these things to be able to flap? It's pretty reasonable that they could evolve into 4 wings that flap, especially in a story that's all about evolution. Pretty straightforward, but yeah, we're gonna get that a lot. Let's see. And then, yeah, the pictures are randomly colored because he realized that some of his artwork looked like racial caricatures. So every picture has a random color. However, we've generally gone with the idea that the Q, they certainly seem like pink fleshy things to me. The asteromorphs are the most direct descendants from humans that were messed around with, so they should still be fleshy things. So yeah, moving on. AM, I watched this video of yours nearly a year ago, very soon after you posted it. I would like to say that even though a lot of people in comments do not believe this theory and believe that the evidences were rather symbolic, that humans just followed in the Q's footsteps, I firmly and aggressively believe in this theory of yours. I always thought that it was a marvelous idea that you came up with. The more I think about it, the more fascinated I become with this theory. I wish more people covered this theory, as this is one of the best and most fantastical science fiction theory. It really increases the scope of all tomorrows, and I think what you propose is correct, even if it wasn't. Further proofs were given to disqualify it. I would not be able to change my mind. The Q are humans, and I will stick with it. Well, thank you very much for all the kind wishes there. I really do appreciate it. It's not the minority opinion, though. Like, here's your like to dislike ratio. Most people actually like the idea. It's just that people who are upset by it are more likely to comment than people who are positive about it. But thank you. Cool video, but the asteromorphs don't have wings. We just talked about this. Joshua Evans, you can go back. It's a logical assumption. A stereomorph is how you link a camera to audio, so I'd say it sounds like it's true. Also, the black and white checkerboard of the Freemasons also magnetic. Zinc. I think that's basically just a joke. So, persuasive face dancer. I'm sold. Thank you. 122 and 112. Bro, Spinosaurus and T-Rex live in the same time period, like Cretaceous. Don't you mean Stegosaurus? Yes. This is the other one we're going to get a lot. I messed up. I said Spinosaurus and not Stegosaurus. Yeah, I hope people can understand the problem. They both start with S. The first half of the name ends with O, and both of their names end with source. They are extremely similar words. Yes, I meant Stegosaurus. I did not mean Spinosaurus. The point remains that the Stegosaurus lived farther away from T-Rex than T-Rex lived from us, which is the point of that sentence. You'll get that a lot. I have another theory to explain the humans disappearing, which is that the humans never actually went extinct. They just started to breed with other species until they weren't humans anymore. That's it. Actually, they technically went extinct since they aren't humans anymore, but I think that's a good theory and probably very anticlimactic. It's possible, certainly. I think this the author 2 billion years into the future or whatever it is, I'm pretty sure they'd have the technology to be able to figure out the lineages of DNA, because I think basically we already have that ourselves and we're not 2 billion years advanced, right? We can figure out the lineages of fossils to living creatures. So I think they'd be able to figure out that human DNA is still around in some shape or form. And also it's very difficult for things to interbreed. All tomorrows generally took a slant of being fairly scientifically accurate, and it just uses deep time as a way to get through some of the more difficult things. It would be doable in a lab, but in general, I guess if everything's kind of partially human at that point, maybe things are a little bit better at interbreeding. So yeah, I'd say plausible, but maybe not truly the case. Travis Hasklitz. Always the problem of a time loop paradox. If you have a problem that requires manipulation of the past to solve, and you do manage to solve it, then your motivation, the problem, ceases to exist in the present, and you'll be left with no reason to go back in time. It creates a causation paradox. I think it might be a more feasible theory that the Q might be a relic from a previous iteration of the universe that managed to figure out a way to survive the heat depth or collapse and wait for a new universe to start. Okay, so the first part, I don't know the full implication here. One of the other things we'll get a lot is that going back in time is a paradox. It's not possible. FTL travel isn't possible based on most of what we know, at least, especially like hyper theoretical methods of FTL travel. Like warp drive is something that's maybe doable, but they don't say warp drive. They say wormholes, and there's just like no evidence of wormholes at all. So there's already impossible science in all tomorrows, which means that other impossible science things can be true. And they're 2 billion years advanced of already being like 1 billion years advanced. So I feel they would eventually just figure out how to stop a paradox from happening and keeping the universe from breaking down, was my point. And that because it's so difficult to overcome a paradox, that's why they overshoot their target of where they want to go. They go insane in the past, basically, and become the Q. And then for the second part here, I don't think this would really pan out, because then the Q would be several hundreds of billions of years old, which would mean that even the god Asteromorphs would not have a chance of defeating them. Using sentience wrong, you mean sapience. Every character in All Tomorrows is sapient, even the dumb ones. Guy XP. this is always just, I think this comes up a lot too. You'll notice that a lot of things are just like people nitpicking the words I've used. Doesn't really matter. Like most people get what the point is that it means an intelligent being capable of like rational thought and stuff. And they're used interchangeably in like even like Star Trek and stuff too. Sapience is also, we can Google it here. Sapience, being able to possess wisdom. They say that like dolphins and whales and elephants possess wisdom, right? But that's not what we mean, right? We mean a higher level intelligence than that. So sapience isn't. Oh, sorry, it's cropped wrong. Sapience isn't a high enough of a bar to describe it, and then if sentience just means animals, which is basically what you were saying here, then that doesn't matter either. So we need a new word to represent something even higher than that, right? We mean human level intelligences, but we don't want to say human level intelligences. Every sci-fi writer ever just says sentience for that. So yeah, it's fine. Everyone knows what I mean. Okay. You know what? Recorded. Aspen or bullying. Pressing me. See you in heck. Have fun. All right. We'll get a lot of those too. I guess I'll give you a thumbs up because that is, you're not wrong, but we need a better word for what to use, and sentience is fine. It will be our future evolution that causes humans to go extinct. It won't be a nuke. It won't be an asteroid. No, it'll be us evolving beyond our own comprehension that makes us go extinct, just like how birds aren't dinosaurs anymore. This is from Shizio Owen. Humans, like, we're not evolving very quickly anymore. Evolution is driven by survival of the fittest, and now, for the most part, everyone survives and has a chance to reproduce in some way. So our evolution is going to be real slow. Like, that's actually one of the problems with All Tomorrows, is there's actually no reason why humans would, or the star people are okay because they were directly genetically modified, right? But there's no reason for the star people to become spacers, and for the spacers to become asteromorphs, and the asteromorphs to become asteromorph gods. It's just not how evolution works. You're not gonna evolve to fart. Like, they'll leave because they're self-propelled by farting. The only way that would work is if women are choosing actively to only marry men who fart a lot. It just doesn't make any sense. So unless they directly genetically modified themselves to do these things, it actually doesn't make any sense for humans to have evolved at all in the story, unless they're messed with their genetics in a direct sort of manner. So no, we'll probably be wiped out by something else. And birds aren't dinosaurs anymore. I think it's more that this really, really small dinosaurs survived while all the big dinosaurs died. So the very small dinosaurs evolved into birds, essentially. It's not like a pterosaur, a giant ass pterosaur evolved into a chicken, right? Because all the pterosaurs died. It was something smaller that was able to hide underground, kind of like the mammals did to survive, right? Okay, it's Zdwowski. We got a bigger one here with multiple questions. Or wait, I missed Egg Hoovidman. I have thought that this has already happened. I don't know if he means my theory idea already happened, or if he means that he's agreeing with the concept that history is kind of repeating itself with this theory. Zdwowski, good theory, though I'm going to poke some holes in it. So if asteromorphs are Q, why would they have worse tech in the end than the asteromorphs themselves? And you tried to explain it by saying they left most of their tech in the future. So what they did after going back in time, did they mess with genetics? They seem much more powerful as asteromorphs with all that. So why could they just do that for millions of years more? Also, wouldn't they just build new tech once arrived in the past? They had plenty of time to do so. Did they chill in space without a care in the world? And if they saw that asteromorphs and other alien alliance was more powerful, that Q already had time travel, why don't they just come back in time to prevent their enemies from rising to power? Okay. So yeah, I think they left most of it in the future, which is all the infrastructure too, right? So all the support structure to build everything from getting the copper out of the ground to turning it into circuit boards is gone. I haven't really thought about whether they brought entire ships through or if they just stepped through a portal themselves and are just left there. If they were just left there without any of their technology, then they'd really have a hard time getting started again, which maybe that's our answer right there, as they just stepped through and they arrived on jungle Earth 70 million years ago, and are like, well, shit, we know how to we know how to eventually get to back where we were, but we're gonna have to work at it for a really long time, right? So by the time they get something crappy thrown together, we've kind of, like I said, my theory is they've kind of lost their mind in the past, waiting. And yeah, their goal of going to the past, I think I said that I wanted their idea to go to the past was to go back and make humans even more powerful, so that when the Q show up, it's not a problem, and that they overshoot their target and go into the distant past. And then they could also just chill in space or something, because when they go too far into the past, it's like, well, now we gotta entertain ourselves. So they go off and travel, which the Q, they travel from system to system as nomads and change things, right? So that could have been what they were doing to entertain themselves. And then by the time they get her back around to Earth, they've forgotten who they are. No or yes, the Rune Haunters did get off easy because they surrendered to the Q and they were rewarded. The Q did not stump their minds as much as they left one destroyed city, or that's what I heard. Okay, so more you just need to read the story, not just do what you hear, because it's actually really short. I guess it's 111 pages, but half of them are just pictures, right? They were stunted. We can look. They were like one of the last ones on here too. Rune Haunters. Okay, here's the Rune Haunters. A particular human species singled out by lucky access to the heritage of its stellar ancestors. We eventually get to play a quick cleaning role. Gotten through the Q invasion with relatively little litigation. They had been reduced to the level of apes, but apes are pretty advanced. Like we've seen apes on Earth do some pretty impressive stuff, but the recovery had been quick. Apparently, the Q had not worked as hard at suppressing their intelligence, nor had made comparable efforts to wipe away the material substances of the starmen after millions of years. So yeah, it doesn't actually say that they surrendered to the Q. It just says that it just seems like they basically got lucky. Now, as a theory crafter, and that is probably another like theory crafting channel, this idea that they surrendered does make sense, but it's not in the book that that's what happened. It just said that they got lucky, basically. Call your Iraqi mapping. You call yourself a god when you trapped yourself in a time loop. That's what happened. Nice how you said the brain evolved into wings. Maybe this is not meant to be sounding like a jerk, but it is. Again, evolution builds on what's there. They have 4 wing-like structures. The Q have 4 wings. Why would you might as well have these things flapping, right? You would evolve those up. How do you sneak some? Okay. Ling Buddha, how do you sneak so much furry propaganda into this? I don't know what they're talking about. They said I did. This is even before I switched the channel over to Command Line Volpine and started using him for narration. So, I don't know. There's no real furry propaganda in there at all. What's the name of the fan art? Well, if you're familiar with alt. I think this is just Q's playing Tetris. The artist of this work is Hexion on Twitter, if that's the question. German Empire 206, most people in China. Billion. That's America there. So, I don't know what that's about. Rock Gaming, so the Q think everyone is a woman. What? Weird energy, but okay. A.E. Edwards. I honestly don't believe the author was that sophisticated. If they had thought of this idea, then they would have used it. Also, the anime cutesy version of the Q in this artwork is so god-awful. Lol. Which one? There's a few artworks of the Q, as we just saw. Author was that sophisticated. C.M. Kozeman. He's a pretty sophisticated gentleman, I would say. Maybe they didn't think of this idea, but he's rewriting the story, so guess what? He might. He's seen the other video I made, and he said that he would implement some of the things I recommended. Kamano Pano Bednors. You're not my fault, I'm yours. Rick to his past self. Myrmecolis, that was a damn interesting theory. Thank you. Holy X, the whole point of the story is there's no such thing as human, just evolution. I think I can go to the end here. The point of the story is to seize all tomorrows. Even now, it's sickeningly easy for beings to get lost in false grand narratives, living out completely driven lives in pursuit of non-existent codes, ideals, and climaxes, and golden ages, and blindly thinking that their stories serve absolute ends. Such creatures almost always end up harming themselves, if not those around them. To those like the misguided, look at the story of man. Come to your senses is not destination, but the trip that matters. What you do today influences tomorrow, not the other way around. Love today and seize all tomorrows. Very positive message to not get too ingrained into like ideology and stuff. It's not, I don't know about, it's no such thing as human, just evolution. Rafi Boyanjan, probably saying that wrong, I'm sorry. I don't know why people think the human race will survive for even 1 million more years. It's silly to think we won't go extinct. Yeah. We have nothing to compare to. We haven't found other humans. Jorm showed an SVP insta-kill mimetic image in the middle of the video. Now everyone with low clearance is gonna effing die. So we're gonna get this one a lot too. Okay, let's just go ahead and kill everyone real quick. I think I flashed it very quickly, so we might not be able to. Oh, here it is. Boop. All right, so apparently this is the SCP mimetic kill image. So what I had heard a long time ago was that SCP-001 is God. And so what I did when I made this video is I looked up SCP-001, found this, put it in because I had been told that 001 is God. And apparently 001 is no longer God. It's something else now. So yeah, that happens a lot too. God, you left out one of the best races that ascended. Come on, man. The ancients from Stargate. One of the best examples there, lol. Nerdy, and this is mostly just user engagement. Well, thank you. Thank you. I can't understand no try. Awesome. Wouldn't make sense. Why would the Q intervene in other races? What was the goal? Their goal. I don't know if you mean the Q initially. The Q initially were like religious zealots that thought they were in control of everything. If you're talking about my Q or human theory that the asteromorphs go back in time, their goal was to intervene in past humans to make them stronger to survive the Q, which would lead to even stronger humans in the future. But then they go too far back in time and go crazy, and they become the Q. So that was their goal. IGE-77. I don't think it's literally humans. I think they're the dominant species from some other galaxy that went in some kind of identical cycle of the farting long legs goblins. Could be. That's probably the more likely. I don't necessarily like 100% believe this theory. It was just, it felt really interesting and seemed like a plausible scenario. Since he left it open-ended at the end of the story, I was like, okay, let's try to come up with something. And then I thought I found enough evidence to make it make sense. So, is he the same Q from Star Trek, says Screwdriver Kelly? No. Q from Star Trek are just one Q. The Q from All Tomorrows is QU. Moby Glory. Time traveler isn't possible. Time was just a concept. But let's say there was time traveler. Then everything that will happen, like the end of the universe, has happened and will happen all at once. Should probably end the universe in a flash. Time is a dimension. I wouldn't say it's just a concept, it's a dimension. We have to apply our own metrics to it because it doesn't have its own metric. But it is a dimension. Space and time, right? And we have no problems moving through all dimensions of time, or all dimensions of space. I think there isn't a reason that we can't mess around with time. Lewis, I want an All Tomorrows, the movie. I do too, Lewis. Shores Wise. Why can't it just be an alien superpower that is having fun on a scale we can't comprehend and leave it that way? That made me wonder recently how people always associate or interpret many cosmic horrors or aliens as humans, societal issues, or other similar issues. I wonder if it is because we are conceived and feel superior and on top of the food chain, or because we can't really accept the speculation of this genre on inferiority in the vast universe type S. No offense to the video. In fact, it's valid speculation. I was simply commenting it to get off my chest. Fair enough. I'd say the main reason is you gotta look up the Fermi Paradox. Fermi Paradox is if aliens exist, we should know about it by now. It should be extremely obvious because on the periods of deep time, even like the stupidest, slowest, crappiest species out there should have filled the universe with Dyson spheres by now and made the sky dark, basically. But all the stars are there and nothing's got wrong with them. So where are they? So because we have zero evidence of aliens out there, it's almost more likely that what's going to happen is once we spread across the galaxy is because of the huge amounts of time lag between us, because messages can only be sent at light speed. So on the other side of the galaxy, it's like 100,000 years, somewhere in there. We'll diverge enough from each other that we will be aliens to each other, but we'll all be human, variants of human. So yeah, that's kind of part of what's going on there. I don't know about on like a deeper level than that, though. Just saying, a scientific plausibility. Xenon, the gravitals are just racist bowling balls. Yep, pretty much. Your theory has a few holes in it. First off, the motives behind the Q were described as religiously driven, believing that they were the ones who could be sentient and they corrupted every sentient species they came across. The asteromorphs, on the other hand, ultimately see the cosmos with sentient life, such as subhumans and terrestrials. Next, the Q have compound eyes and mandibles, which would be nearly impossible for natural evolution to develop, as their moth eyes are most likely ideal for their environment, and insectoid organs are completely arbitrary for a space-faring race. Okay. First part, yeah, it does say they're religious. First part, it does say that, yes, they are religiously driven. They believe they're the only one that can be sentient. They corrupted every sentient species they came across. Again, basically my idea is that the asteromorphs went insane in the past from just the long wait, or even maybe the time travel itself messed with their brains. Compound eyes and mandibles. I think like the mantis shrimp has like incredibly powerful eyes. I can see like everything. They can see the universe because they have such incredible eyes. I would think that asteromorphs would want to have the best eyes they possibly could, and they might develop compound eyes for themselves. And like I talked about, it doesn't really make sense that like spacers evolved from humans and all that stuff. And it's very likely that they would start actively genetically modifying themselves to have the most superior stuff, right? Not necessarily just wait for it to happen. Although 2 billion years, they might have enough time for that to just happen. As for their organs, we don't really know much about their organs. So, spider bugbear. Yeah, that was my thought too, bud. The Q are just another brand of us. Thank you. Dreamlight. Well, the spacers do look similar to the Q in terms of evolutionary standard. I don't know if the spacers necessarily do. Like, I feel like the asteromorphs. Asteromorph gods look the closest to the Q. Yeah, I don't see it. It's still along the same line of thinking. Im2, or we and the Q are two branches of an older race that split off billions of years ago. Could be. Could be. Lay Mayo with a NFT picture. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Monster, no. Definable, never. Evolve asteromorphs, technically, but yes. Yes, that's the point. But if I put evolved asteromorphs into the title and thumbnail, no one would have clicked the video. Lists boxy racing. This is like Star Wars. Yes, it's sci-fi. I'll give you that. If the Q were human time travel masters, then they should have been able to run an unlimited number of tests to see how their experiments would have ended, and thus prevent extinction unless they believe they were the apex and at no risk of extinction. If that did occur, it would be due to their own creation of a word-be adversary, which in turn would be worth it for them and the species they created. I apologize for the run-on sentence. Yeah, I feel like the asteromorphs were just like very up their own butt, and that they're the apex and at no risk of extinction. They also might have worried that just yeeting stuff back in time might wipe them out in the future, so they waited until they just could send them all back in time, right? That way that no one in the future would die. Horizon Mind, this theory, not very good. Good try, champ. 8 subs, 34.1k views versus 0. Yeah, I think it's a good theory. Let's double check the ratio here. 21k likes to 438 dislikes. Yeah, I think it was a pretty good try, like not ironically. So, moving on. Chaositic Braindo. Either way, asteromorphs are not really humans anymore anyway, question mark. Unlike other beings that are crafted from humans and evolved back to civilization, the asteromorphs evolved naturally, and they're so far off their natural evolution, they're more different to humans than humans are to apes, which have been considered the different species. Sure. I don't know if this is a criticism of saying that they're human, but the author describes them as human in the last sentence, so we will consider them human. Sentinel. I wish the All Tomorrow story was either extended, detailed more, or something similar. It's an incredibly interesting story, obviously, and I wish I could hear more of the future past of the humans in Q. I do too, and I believe that we will, because he's working on the rewrite of All Tomorrows. Apparently, we actually hadn't gotten one of these for like a month, so I guess that's one thing. 2008. Oh, we get this question. We get this a lot. How is 2008 old? I thought you were going to say like 1985 or something. This rubs me the wrong way like so much. 2008. It's a very long time ago. You are kidding yourself if you don't think that 2008 is a long time ago. 2008 is 14 years ago. Someone born in 2008 is 14 years old and now. I was a sophomore in high school in 2008. I am almost 30 now with my own house, car, and a job and everything. Michael Jackson died in 2008. Kanye West told Taylor Swift, I'm going to let you finish in 2008. 2007, Halo 3 released for Xbox 360. 2007, Facebook came out. 2007, the iPhone came out. Like, this is a really long time ago. Things were completely different. The political situation was not like as completely dire as it is right now. It was just starting to happen. We were just starting to get social media in like a real way, right? The financial collapse that just happened. George Bush was still president when All Tomorrows came out. Obama might have been elected, depends on the month. Obama might have been elected, but Bush was still in office at the time. This is a really long time ago. Yes, 2008 is a long time ago. It would only not be a long time ago to you if you're like 60. And you're like, oh, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, it wasn't. It was a much smaller proportion of your life, but it's like half, yeah, it's like basically half my life away. That's how long ago 2008 was. Stop it. Stop. Get some help. The animation commenter. Okay, I wish this All Tomorrow's nonsense would drop out of my feed. I don't care about the hype surrounding it. It's just too weird for me. Well, I can't help you with that. I think you can. Can't you like yeah, you can hit not interested on stuff. I'd recommend marking these things as not interested. I don't know if it'll work because the algorithm sucks, but I'd recommend trying that. Mexico. The entire country of Mexico says I don't think. Or no, I don't think. Okay, sure. You're entitled to that opinion. Admiral Stoic Rum. I confess I thought this was Star Trek related. Nope, not the same Q. Cheese Crisp. Film theory. If this is correct, the remaining Qs went back in time after being defeated to try to stop the humans from evolving in the first place. But they don't know this action is what made it happen. So I guess this isn't... I'd maybe remove the first part of this. I feel like you're just presenting a separate theory. Yeah, this could make sense, I would say. I'm not really sure that this is correct. Makes it seem like it's based on my idea that the rest of this would be the case, but I think it was more a standalone theory. It makes sense. Andrew Wawia, our own personal hell loop of fitting prison for such a destructive species. Yep. Thank you, Andrew. Trevor Horn. I really like this theory on IMHO. Headcanon makes the story even better. Great video. Thank you. Abu Aram Minkolm. The Q see human as Lego. They genetically modified like Lego. You make Lego house and rebuilding them. Yep. And ornithologists. Q rhymes with, well, you know. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Truly. Kill Oran. Seeing this image makes me want the human race to end. Asteromorphs didn't join. Not actually sure if you mean this one or if you meant the... Okay, you probably meant this one. Don't criticize artists, please. It's not very kind. Where were we here? August Martin. It reminds me a lot of other sci-fi and fantasy stories. I don't know. I think the Q well, I don't know about my theory necessarily. I think All Tomorrows is definitely very unique. The exploration of like deep time and stuff is not something that most sci-fi deals with. Code Mission. I think the theory of the Q being human undermines the point of them. They are tripods from older worlds. Their colonialism turned back on humanity like cruel irony. They're meant to put Western industrial citizens in the point of view of a citizen of a small African nation. They arrive, assume ownership by self-justice moral reasons, begin reshaping that. In their own image, your society becomes dependent on its oppressors, and everyone you love becomes an instrument for their convenience, much as H.G. Wells was trying to do with the tripods. They care to make you uncomfortable with colonialism. Now that you felt the people you align victimized the same way, do you see how you like it? It's almost entirely undermined if the Q are human. There's no longer a commentary on colonialism, about the human cycle of oppression, some half-aimed statement about brutality and cruelty to one's fellow man. For the metaphor to work, the Q need to be the other. No, I think it's actually more effective if they are human, because then it's actually proving the point that humans have done very terrible colonialistic things to each other, right? I think if it's something else, then it's kind of like you take the blame off, and because we ultimately kill the Q in the story, you know, I think that takes the kind of the gunpowder out of it. And at the end, the last thing that we had read for a different thing, for a different comment earlier, not really the conclusion the author was making. I think it makes more sense if they are human, to be honest with you, with that idea in mind. Eric, they're all humans though, just variants of the original DNA. Oh, did I not say that? Scrimmage. This is probably my favorite theory, although it's not official. It does satisfy my questions. What could have happened to the humans? Thank you, Scrimmage. Thought that was the point. Saturnian. I'm assuming that's agreeing with me then. Caster Quinn, sorry, made a bit of a random comment here, but I absolutely love your name. Command Line Volpine Halifax. Thank you, Caster Quinn. I actually was not Command Line Volpine when I uploaded this. I was Lanso 90. Once I started seeing that the video was doing pretty well, though, I was like, oh, you know what? I should probably actually work on branding and stuff. The Command Line Volpine, I tried to make it so it rhymes and stuff, and that it has something to do with sci-fi and things like that. And gaming. Twos. Love the video. One thing, though, it's possible that it's a paradox where they come back and have no knowledge of what happened to humans, but time must correct itself. The dinosaur on another planet in the book is intentionally set a time frame from when the Q fully evolved to what we see Dragonfly. I'm not sure if this is a suggestion on something that would make it work, or if this is implying that there's a problem, because we've talked about the paradox thing. I think they figured they got high and advanced enough technology, they figured out how to not make a paradox happen, and then they went insane. So on the other planet is intentionally set a time frame from when the Q fully evolved to what we see. I don't know if it's necessarily to set a time frame of when they fully evolved. It's to say the last time they had passed through the galaxy, what their cycle might be, whether they're in other or not. That's their cycle of the last time they had come to Earth was when it was 70 million years ago. What is the Q form? Is the galactic equivalent of a crab where a bunch of things convergently evolved. Henry Zhao. I don't know what you mean exactly. I know what convergent evolution and stuff is, but I don't know what you mean. David Alikid Poo. Sweating face, heart, angry face. Okay. I don't know if you're saying the video's poo or you're just spamming. Jack saying, this is fantastic. Such a good story. Awesome theory. I can't believe I didn't think of it. Well, they look the same. Oh, I guess that's in reference to the final comparison that I made that some people have issues with. Thank you, Jack. Miguel McKay. This fan art is so great. Is this the
Back
same?
on their feet.
Oh, this is this one. Yeah, that is the gentleman. Actually, I don't know their pronouns. I'm sorry. Second Human Empire images off Officious animation. They did the really good, really awesome It's Time animation, which I really recommend watching. It's also like the 1 year anniversary of when they did that. They also did a Q&A actually for their anniversary. So definitely recommend checking that out again. Hanalak, also the duality of man. Someone saying it's great when someone said it wanted them to end human existence. People. All right, Hanalak, is this the ultimate form a species on that level can take? The final step in evolution, that's in physical evolution inside this universe, and maybe the asteromorphs where they invented time travel, realized that the cube might have been the same, and they were just traveling through different timelines, shaping life into themselves so they can expand their domain further. That, or they invented time travel, went back to jumpstart human evolution to reach their own level faster, and be able to repel the cube, which will also make the point that the cube were doing the same, but from fear of a different species that they might have been the only survivors of. So you'd get a loop spanning space and time, a species in constant fear, trying to preserve their existence by changing and destroying others to their own liking, doing the simplest thing evolution teaches, surviving by being the strongest. So I guess they're proposing a theory here where the cube could be also time traveling. Like, not that they're human, but they are also another race that is going back in time and time traveling as well. And that this is kind of like an infinite loop as a way to try to expand not just in space, but also through time. Sure, I think that could work. Kriegsmen who lived more than 6 days. Honestly, though, how would time travel even work? Sure, they're insanely advanced, but time travel's mere concept is insanely advanced. You want to go back in time? Well, good luck trying to tread around infinite time loop paradox. The paradox that just erase you and other paradoxes. I don't see how you can tread past everything, but who knows? Maybe we're right if we ever get in all tomorrow's too. We'll see. I don't know if he'll necessarily answer if this theory is correct in the rewrite. He says he's going to implement some of the things I suggested in the other video. But yeah, like I said, in all tomorrows, there's things achieved that are impossible, such as the wormhole. But, I think wormholes are theoretically possible, but there is no evidence that they exist or can exist. So, I think there's enough stuff that is impossible in all tomorrows that is happening that there's no reason that time travel couldn't be possible, especially with that kind of time, that kind of deep time that the asteromorphs have had to think about this. It's 2 billion years of godlike beings thinking about this with unbelievably super powerful hypercomputers, right? So I think it's possible. Tiago Pesci, fight against a monster enough and you will became that same monster. That's the author's view. The Q wasn't human. The final humans ended becoming Q-esque for philosophical reasons. The symbology in the final images express that. Sure. Well, fight against a monster enough and you'll become that same monster. That kind of sounds like the Q being human to me. Just saying. Physical Nielsen. I believe the Q must have been at one point the victim of a mass gene tampering and genocide to the point they survived to become godlike beings, realizing it's not so bad and then modifying other creatures to do it as well. Sure, that could happen. Dino Dude, bro used the Matt Pat guy in the thumbnail. That is Ed Krause, as they called him. Because there was like some kind of subreddit thread where someone said, I found this in my driver's Ed Krause instead of driver's ed course, so they call him Ed Krause now, but he's just a generic what do you call them? I want to say pay site, but it's like just like something you'd find on Pixabay, right? Just stock images is the word I'm looking for. He's a stock image person. And here you go. Your evidence that all tomorrows is old. Sifty Woo says, All tomorrows is as legit as old as me. What the fuck? Yeah, so, you know, all tomorrows, it might be old if there's people old enough to type on YouTube that this is old as me. What the fuck? Just saying. David2869. Actually, sorry, I don't mean to do that. The Q is John Delancey holding back a pool stick, waiting in line for the signal to take a shot. Another play on Star Trek. Good catch up. Nope, the wings are part of their brain. I told you. It's the same things keep getting brought up. And just because of that speculation, the whole thing's wrong, apparently. Got to destroy that. Why would they get rid of their 90% of their brain for wings? The Q are completely different species from the way they are and less intelligent than the evolved space humans. I don't think there's a reason to say that they're less intelligent. The Amphicephalite and asteromorphs work together to take down the Q. It's possible that the asteromorphs on their own wouldn't have been able to do it because hypothetically the Q had been also getting more powerful at the same time as the asteromorphs were. And again, don't necessarily have to get rid of your brain. Just make it so those things can flap. Just get them flapping, brother. Why not? They evolved to fart. Evolved to make your brain flap, man. Siggy bop brain. Fucking siggy bop brain, mate. I don't think people understand. They just don't look like the big dragonfly things. There's little creatures beside it in the diagram too. They're all just random stuff, not a race of flying bug things. Well, this is something I see a lot too, that people say that, for one thing, it doesn't matter. But for another thing, Q triumphant in the fall of man. To his left, so this is the Q. It's a he, apparently. To his left, this is his left, floats a nanotechnological drone. To the right, a genetically modified tracing creature. These are not Qs. These are their enslaved things that they've created from out of other races. This is the Q. It says it right there in the description of the picture. Again, lie. You watch too many videos like the one I made. You didn't read the story. It's like, I think a audio narration of the story is an hour long. You might as well just listen to, there's audio narrations of it on YouTube. Just listen to the full narration. They also usually put the picture on the screen too, so I guess in audio narration though, they probably don't have the subtext, so yeah, you just read the story. It doesn't take long. Orion, Gravital sound like Necrons from Warhammer 40k. Don't know a whole lot about Warhammer 40k, but I do remember when the Necrons came out in the video game and my cousin bought it and talked about how OP the Necrons were, so yeah, that makes sense to me. Xavier Alfred. It only needs to be a small fraction of future asteromorphs that want to go back. Could be for any reason. Maybe they were just scientists that got stranded, but over millions of years, their society grew and their history became distorted, so they evolved into the Q. Well, we do. This is agreeing with me, so maybe I shouldn't criticize. But we just read that all the humans disappeared, right? So they kind of all have to go back, unless maybe some paradox. Only a few of them did go back, and then that made the rest of them disappear. So maybe a paradox did happen. For all the people who are complaining that it's a paradox. I don't think the Q are human, but I think humans, and inevitably all life, eventually became Q. The big theme of... I'm just going to call you correct. I have a lot of things to go through today. That's a lot. Thank you for the very big thought out post. Pretty sure I read it on my own time in the past. We might be here for a pretty long time if I do that, though. Tech savvy, no. Okay, you're entitled to that. Mikey. That feeling when you find out this video is made of furry. Yeah, nice. You're not as mean as the other person was about it, so whatever. Just grow up, people. Fuck's sakes. Just be a normal adult human being, all right? Cassie edits. Imagine what the post-humans would think if they found out their ancestors watched Netflix and make TikToks all day. They would be quite upset, I believe. Or be like, God, I wish that was me, because they're living in like a hellscape. 5 Tree Zip 23. Can anyone recommend any other audiobooks that one who liked this story would also like? Okay. For some reason I was having trouble parsing that. I don't listen to too many audiobooks, but there is Man After Man. And you see over here. There is another channel, Curious Archive. Look up Curious Archive on YouTube. He made a channel that's like all devoted to speculative evolution books, and he reviews all kinds of them, so you can probably find good recommendations there for the same type of thing. Quite captivating story, makes me think of Elon Musk periodically while pondering it. I don't know if that is an insult or a compliment to Elon Musk. Dr. Scrubbington. Time to get a bit existential. Oh, this might be long. It's not too long. But I think this entire theory brings up an even more interesting theory about our own future. What if it's not just that highly advanced life forms see humans as the way current humans see insects, but also that our future highly advanced species sees current humans as we see prehistoric cavemen? What if they see our current music, art, and entertainment the way we see cavemen paintings, rock painting songs that never ever think to listen to today, and might not even care to preserve aside from putting it in a museum just for history's sake? What if we forget everything we used to be aside from deeply planted natural instincts in our quest to ascend? Do we have to limit our own evolution in order to truly preserve what we truly currently cherish? Do we already reach a natural limit of how much we can actually evolve? Yeah. So basically that's what we talked about before, where we're not really going to evolve like the way it's presented in All Tomorrows with the space or asteromorph line. Any change? Oh, my jaw popped. Hopefully we evolve to have jaws that don't pop, but no, we're kind of capped out unless something weird happens, right? Well, basically unless the Q show up, or we start genetically modifying ourselves with manipulation and that sort of thing. But as far as just naturally evolving, that's kind of done. Lip, I remember watching the first All Tomorrow S randomly when I was going to sleep. Now I'm stuck here in the rabbit hole. Not sure I would watch it before going to sleep, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. I assume you're enjoying it. King Astus. Damn, my boys in the Alliance looking real cute in their Discord avatars. It's a good one. Christian, the only difference... Ooh, let's see if it's too long. Okay, we're good. The only difference between this story and a world we currently live is we don't look like other creatures. But all the different features of stupidity, brainlessness is 100% there. Q has definitely came and conquered, turning human into brainless slaves, aimlessly chasing carrot on a stick as our world slowly disintegrates. And those disintegrate every day of their lives. Take no responsibility, thus putting the blame on their leader, which has not lifted one finger. As their self-inflicting problems get worse, they find more people to blame, resulting in a never-ending cycle of heck for those aware of it and blissful life for those who believe they are actually getting somewhere, causing inevitable destruction, all the while chasing something their entire life that they are possessed since birth, turning completely sane human beings, murdered or psychotic, leaving planet Earth, for the lack of a better term, an insane asylum. Moving on. Wade Guidry, cool theory. Thank you, Wade. Soulgate Entertainment, such a great theory and ties to some really other cool sci-fi stories. I love how you made a reference to that one dinosaur bird creature they found in a fossil of on that one planet. Yep. Thank you. The Easy Peanut Squad, way back in 2008, hit me hard. I didn't realize that 2008 was really 14 years ago. Might go into some sort of existential crisis now. Thank you. At least I'm not alone. Sometimes I feel I'm alone on that one, based on the comment section. Bjorn Pokleva, Q-Man. Okay. Rafael Pires, meh, all the races cease to exist unless it's a loophole for asteroids. This theory won't fit. Guessing by asteroids, he got auto-corrected from asteromorphs? I don't know. I think autocorrect had its way with your comment there. Nighthawk0913. I never thought about how the Q being extremely advanced human descendants. Nighthawk0913. I never thought about the Q being extremely advanced human descendants. I like the theory, especially with the time loop aspect of it. Thank you. Shu Sui. 810. I'd say that rather asteromorphs only saw themselves as human, as all others had been manipulated. So I think this is just a reference to something.
Didn't see themselves as human.
Yeah. I'm going to have to stop clicking the links, though, and just having to think about what they're talking about, because now it's taking me too long to get through back down here. Oh, my God, the big comment. 810. Okay, here we go. The stegosaurus saw only themselves as humans, all others have been manipulated. I don't know if I didn't say that, but yeah, that's basically what they thought. Rick Ray, somebody needs to make an animated series of all tomorrows, but stay true to the art we've all seen. That would be pretty cool. For sure. I don't know if Kozaman would be able to do like full animations and stuff. He'd probably like want to direct it and then maybe hire some of these good fan animators to make it, you know. That would be pretty cool. David Gain, share the Q, the ones who gave Cartman the butt probe. I guess that would make Cartman and the Steromore to explain all the farts. Lazarus Bell, I'm so enamored by a book I know nothing about. Mitchie watches. Man, this is my second video in learning what All Tomorrows is about, and I feel like I'm just diving into a sinkhole. And it's not actually like that much. It's a 111-page story, like I said, and then most of those are pictures. It's like 1 hour audiobook. And then everything else around it is like fan speculation, right? Ex-Cowboy Mattwell X. I love this theory. Thank you. Sean NH. Way back in 2008. You know what? Maybe more of these are people just agreeing with me than I thought. I thought people were complaining that it was not a long time ago. But see, maybe they were all just saying that it was a long time. Oh boy. Here we go. What we got here? Nick, lol, did you seriously say human civilization has only existed for 9,000 years? And okay, so this is, someone didn't understand the difference of what I meant between evolved humans and civilization. There's a difference. Human civilization has only lasted for 5,000 years. Atomically, modern humans first appeared in Africa 300,000 years ago and achieved behavioral modernity about 50,000 years ago. These might be true, but that's not what I was saying. I was saying civilization, which is like when humans can specialize, when they know farming, when they know agriculture, when they set up cities, so on and so forth. 3000 BC was like Ur and the pyramids and all that stuff, right? So like Ur was like the oldest city that we've found so far, right? City of Ur foundation, the 4th millennium BCE, so 4,000 years BC. So 6,000. I was 1,000 years off of my civilization guess. 4,000. So yeah, 6,000 years is what I meant. You may be correct with these numbers. It's not what I meant. I did not mean when humans evolved. I meant when they were a civilization, because I was talking about technology development. Ben Ugurok. This makes me question whether there is a Q invasion at all. What if there is a war of resources and one of the Gravitalis factions which had some advantage of the others. Established a new order, resulting in bioweapons and stuff, punishing those who serve them. Since this has happened millions of years ago, it's hard to say what really took place here. Drones and machines would eventually transform the aliens in memory of the few survivors keeping memory. So I think he's basically saying that the whole story of all tomorrows could be fabricated, because any of the factions could have like influenced the story one way or the other. I think it's basically an accurate, because he knows some the author knows the in-universe author knows some very fine details about some really old history. So I think it's more just like a plot twist. This is an alien telling the story was kind of what happened at the end there. And I think it's basically just an accurate documentation about what happened. Bogul, interesting. Is this okay? I will answer your first question. Whatever your first question I find here is. Interesting theory for sure. I'm not entirely on board with the motivations outlined, though. Perhaps rather than purely going back in time to alter humans in the aim of strength and ambition, a more paradoxical time loop is going on. Perhaps the asteromorphs realized that they themselves needed to go back in time to secure their own existence in the current future. Needed to become the Q so the spacers would exist in the first place. Yeah, that could be. That could be true. The Child of Tatna. I like this story. Don't know if you necessarily mean my theory or all tomorrows, but either way, thank you. Thomas Flacker, I like the video, even though I don't really agree with the theory. It does make for an interesting thought experiment. Well, thank you, Thomas. Popland. Imagine a Netflix TV series that had CGI to create these worlds, dramatic music, and brilliant words narrated by David Attenborough like it was a documentary. That'd be interesting. Yeah, there's the mimetic kill agent. Gonna have a lot of comments about that. That's the thing I thought was God, but they changed it so 001 was not God anymore. Loved your vid, but my question is, if all humans just vanished, who's telling the story? Who's that thing that the research and found all those tragic stories? If you could, I would love to see your thoughts about it. That is the author. I think he is just an alien from a different galaxy, because he is very alien looking, which would imply that he is from a very alien place, not really related to humans. Ricardo Fermi. Should I get my hands on a copy of this book? I've been seeing a lot about this and it seems really interesting. Yes, you should, but it's free online. Like here it is. But yeah, I don't know if there's like book copies of it in stores or anything. That'd be cool though. Mac Knowles, no time travel. Yeah. Like I said, it's too clever and too grounded. Again, there's impossible technologies in the story. Actually, Oasis. The Gravitals were in fact computers or robots that destroyed their biological maker of that planet. Not quite. They are post-humans from the Q apocalypse, I guess you could call it. They happened to get lucky. They weren't nerfed as much physically or intellectually, and they had a planet that had more ruins and stuff on it. They evolved too quickly, and they put themselves into robots, but they're human robots, like their minds are still there. And they didn't destroy their biological maker of that planet. They did go through the universe and purge everything else except the other than the asteromorphs. Maxine Box. Your pattern that you talk about is in the description. Just means us humans are seemingly the first start of the sentience loop cycle. As far as we know, that our sentience was the first to be completed in 4.6 billion years this Earth has been around. Might be 4.5, but it's approximation either way. I think this is just... I don't think this was a complaint, necessarily. This is just saying that humans might be the first intelligent life, which we kind of talked about earlier a bit. Furries, Ripsky, furries aren't human. Debunked. Here at Stop Theory 666. Don't know what you're saying. Like, I don't know if you're hating on furries or if you're being cool with us. Normally it's people hating on us, but if it's debunked, then kind of sounds like you're siding with me. I don't know. J-Boy Days. Maybe the asteromorphs did have a civil war, but because of their such great technology, they could have erased all trace of the war because of their godlike abilities. And to do that, wouldn't one of them have to be around still to have made that happen? Yay, I'm going to guess that that is the fan art. Be nice. Be nice to artists. Virtue of sunlight. Also, since humanity banished in this entirety, asteromorph subjects and new machines, interesting that the Q are accompanied by two other creatures, one bug-like and one mechanical. This is just kind of a strange sentence because the first half is like about one thing and then the second half is about something else. But we talked about this a moment ago. Those are other creatures that the Q created. They aren't other Qs, as people keep thinking they are. Vbens is recapping the whole all tomorrows in very funny and confusing ways. His vid Fury starts here. 9. I put a chapter link in the description, or not. Well, I guess it is in the description, but it picks a timeline on the video that allows you to skip to the chapter where I actually talk about the theory. So trying to be a jerk, which I think is what you're doing here. Trying to be a jerk saying, here's where you need to skip to your theory. I beat you to it. It's in the video description and on the timeline. You're being a D-bag for no reason. And my recap is basically accurate, so. Nope. This ain't it, Chief. Nobody, really nobody. What if they time traveled and actually made the planet Earth filled with the first humans? Wouldn't exactly make sense because we have an archaeological record of how humans evolved, so wouldn't quite work. The opinionated nobody. Wait. When the 2008? Okay. So there is people who thought this too. I was pretty sure there was. When did 2008 become pretty old? When it was very old, because it's half my life away. I'm a grown-ass man with back pain now, but I was a sophomore in high school. So yeah, that's when it became a long time ago. Artemis Gaming said that, or some kind of god was real, and then showed Agnostic Heavenly. Yep, talked about that. Master Ghost F, I remember reading it in the early 2010s on a website I can't find. Publicly available. Just type in All Tomorrow's PDF and you'll find it if you're still looking for it. 3 lines. Very cool. Spacers the spacers all look like struggling 40-year-old artists that have 3 kids and constantly DMing you asked to check out their Etsy store. Sure. Tamara Yvonne, they are white supremacists. Talking about me? Are you talking? Very much not true. Are you talking about the Q? I don't know about that. I think they're Q supremacists. Talking to me? I didn't even have a webcam on in the videos. You might even know when I was white necessarily. So I'm a white supremacist. I'll go. You can see other opinion pieces I put on my channel where I'm reaming racists and stuff. So oh, Venom Van Dance. I think this is unlikely given the Q's biology. However, I do think perhaps more interesting idea is the Q are humans that existed prior to 21st century humans and toyed with their own kind for millions and billions of years. It seems like there must have been some other person who made another theory video that like the Q are humans that evolved from a different time period, because that seems to come up a lot. The sort of Lord of the Rings thing where like they evolved in a distant part of Earth's past. Dylan, I came. Thank you so much for the likes. I am so scared currently. You okay, bud? Seems like you might not be okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Nerd lifts. Didn't the asteromorphs defeat the Q? How could they do that? They were less advanced. They were working with the amphicephali from another galaxy. They might have just totally overwhelmed the Q. The Q are also nomads, so they might not have as much like industry and infrastructure to work from, and might just have like only fleets and stuff, you know. Subtle optimism. We are the fallen angels in the Book of Enoch. I don't know what you mean, brother. Master Andromeda. Yeah, I am. I don't know what you mean, brother. Are you saying you're human, but you're a Q? I don't know. Anna Pavlova. No, come on, man. You're creating a paradox. No. We talked about the paradoxes. They had billions of years to think about it. Had supercomputers. They may have suffered the effects of paradox, and that's why they all disappeared in the future. Maybe only a few made it back. There's other impossible science in Altomaros, so it's possible. Umbris, the Umbreon. The Rune Hunters look like Minecraft villagers. They do? They do be kind of looking like Minecraft villagers. Ting Tukan. Dumb. The living God was here, by the way. Everyone goes to hell. Many blessings. Jesse, what the hell are you talking about? This just happens when you have like a semi-viral video. Like some of these are just like nonsense. James 1901. The Q are basically the Enclave. I guess in the sense that they're the bad guy of the story. I don't know any other little comparison though, really. Vin Vulpus. Now where's my human flesh book? I have to take it out. That was my outro for this thing. Thank you, Vin. Philip J. Fry, I'm guessing. The genetic modification was just play. I want to know what type of weapons tech they had to steamroll the star people. Yeah, we wouldn't really know. The best thing I would guess is like antimatter warheads, maybe like black hole generators. I don't know if they had black hole generators. That feels like something that would have happened during like this asteromorph war with the gravitals. But probably lots of antimatter bombs and stuff. But I think they mostly I think they had nanobots that like nanobot bullets that they would shoot into people and that would genetically modify them into what they wanted. Leonard Lennon, because they didn't really want to destroy things, they just wanted things to be the way they wanted it. Leonard Lennon. Nice theory, by the way. Nice theory. Edit. Theory time. If the Q are humans, why would they make something that they know, is what I'm guessing you're trying to say, that they know will eventually lead to their demise, or the Q was the Martians, or maybe something else. I don't know. Well, like I said, they went into the past and went insane. They forgot that they were human. They weren't the Martians because the Martians and humans made a pact to off themselves and become star people so that they could not go to war in the future with themselves. Casper Foray, human civilization is only 5,000 years old. 6,000 as we just discussed. But we're not talking about biological humans. We're talking about civilization, which means farming and agriculture and domestication, etc., cities. 6,000 years ago. Sea Moon could be of its paradox going on. So Q went back in time and made the Q. Like they went back in time, eventually messing with people over and over, made themselves. I love this theory so much. Oh, it's not as negative as I thought. Asteromorphs went back in time and they became the Q. They went back too far in time to mess with other human beings. They went back 70 million years. And then they messed around with dinosaurs a little bit. Edgy Nick. My theory is not that they time traveled, but the original humans were a result of a previous genetic modification, and the Q are one of the many human species. This seems to be that other theory I would keep saying, that the Q are humans that evolved separately. So yeah, someone must have made that kind of theory out there, because the narrator has very poor articulation. Good story nonetheless. This is my first time making a video of this nature. I was speaking too fast. I've also fixed my microphone settings quite a bit since then. And now, because I've been recording this for like 2 hours, and then I'm getting tired and my voice is getting worn out, so now I probably do have worse articulation. Bet Tro. All tomorrow is a theory about some dope S that the Halo universe hasn't mastered on their own. Not sure what in particular you're speaking about in the Halo universe necessarily. Seawolf. I honestly don't know why the first video is sort of an abridged version popped up in my, this is talking about the All Tomorrow's the Future of Humanity video that got really popular. Popped up in my feed, looks sweet. It looks weird. I didn't really think it was interesting enough. Though I love stories about strange creatures and such, but today I finally decided to give it a listen. I'm actually very intrigued. That's kind of how I thought too. When I saw the thumbnail, I was like, oh, this is kind of gross. I don't know if I want to watch this. And then I finally did. I was like, oh, this is really good. But it is weird that it's like abridged because it's only like 10 minutes abridged. Like it's like a 42-minute video and like a full audiobook reading is 1 hour long. So it's like, did it need to be abridged? Like, I don't even remember what he cut out necessarily. It's kind of strange. But apparently it worked because it went hyper viral. Chrism not in space. So I think maybe the Q we see is probably one of the many versions and generations of the Fart Boys. One could have looked different. One of the Q generations could actually be a bug facers or gravital or maybe just humans. Driven mad to find bones. So just such a run-on sentence. I don't really know what you're saying, bud. Sorry. I feel like what I would say is that just any of these would still have to go back in time in order for it to work, right? I guess regular humans would have to go into the future. Go into the future or go back in time, one way or the other. No, the Q are mosquitoes, not humans. Don't like the mosquitoes. They don't have a proboscis. They have pincers. They're much more like that shrimp thing, if they're like anything. 320. I can't click it because we're too deep down now. Background music, is it from Flood? I don't know what this is, but all the background music is just free music from like Kevin MacLeod and stuff, or video games. It brings up an interesting question related to the ethical treatment of animals. If it is right to do as you please to them because you're so much superior, can you complain when being so much superior to you does the same? Find the excuse of humanity just happening to be a more important threshold of sapience where they are an exception rather than self-serving. No, I don't know what the full discussion going on there is. I don't know. We should just treat animals well. Not like a vegan, but you know, I think we should treat our livestock well. And of course, treat your pets even better. A random crusader on Jerusalem. Oh boy, these are the kind of profile pics and names that get me worried. I think the asteromorphs should have had an idea that they were stuck in a time loop. See that their thoughts are so great, it would probably end up conversation leak this. Hey Pete, since we discovered time travel, should we notice a change right now? I mean, the reason we invented this is to play with our futures. Shut up, Pat. Get back to work. Holy crap. I just realized the species we're making looks exactly like that loser I saw from the book. Stop being distracted. Get a book. Okay, but point is, surely would have noticed something odd with what they're doing. I don't know. It's an extreme deep time, right? Like, we still haven't, like, existed long enough to have read a book from 1 million years ago. And they've existed for 2 billion years. So, I think it's possible they could forget some of the stuff that went on. I find it so interesting how the Q looks so similar to gray aliens. I mean, they got big black eyes, but that's about it. I feel like the artist who drew them was possibly inspired by the description of gray aliens. I think maybe on a basic level, but I think that Cambrian explosion shrimp is probably the biggest design inspiration. We're almost halfway through this. I disagree with this theory because people more often represent time travel as being able to go forward and backward. You can only go forward in time travel one way, so it's not mathematically possible for the Q to be time traveling humans. Too bad. It was 2 billion years. Super advanced computers. And yeah, There's other impossible stuff that happened in all tomorrow, so it is possible. Big Fat Ugly, why must you go for a fight the all tomorrows? I didn't. Crap, we are. We're like 1/4 through this. If this was the 600th come. Because more comments came in at the start. I don't know if we can actually go through all of this. I'm going to go crazy. I'll try. Michael Fawaz. So you're a far future human. Dude evolved to look like my former coworker. I don't know which human that is, Brett. I want to see it, but pretty cute. Wonder who is the artist. I don't know if this is the officious one or if this is the Q stacking playing Tetris one. Eric and a car, are they dancer? Don't know what you mean. Mally, how does the author know of all human history for millions of millennia but doesn't know how they end? Because this fictional story doesn't make logical sense. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Max Hyde, there is something, unless they disappeared because they created a time paradox by going back in time. There's something so oddly familiar about All Tomorrows. There's a reason it resonated with millions of people. Could be. I'm not sure what, though. S. Gregor's must have been the series of personages, you think? Okay, we got ourselves a jerk here, boys. Got too many holes in it. From immorality, the Q were eventually subdued. Tired of loose and uncaring. He told me to go back in the past, make humanity stronger. I want to have some Q invasions. Furthermore, they go to such lengths that they'd basically be committing suicide of the species. I would never let it cut. Don't even know what you mean, man. To be honest with you. Colonial Wojaks had me cackling for some reason. It's just very funny. That was one of the pictures I used, was the Wojak versions of the Colonials. So yeah, that's pretty good. Bingle Minsk. The only thing that I could bring up with such things so deeply horrify a human mind is prerequisitely in itself a human mind. Maybe I'm getting tired, but I don't know what you mean, brother. Savan. The Q are the only species in the story that look kind of cute. Okay. Imminence. Cool theory. Thank you, Imminence. NA. Scary to think that the tyrannical governments of the 20th century look like a nursery room bully compared to civilization's cut to the Q. Yeah. Deviation 01. I can't believe this. Nice work. Thank you. Nick the Lab. Oh boy. I remember replying to this one, I think. There's people here like, you didn't read the book. Here is a bunch of misinformation that I don't know because I just listened to random people talking and didn't read the book. You need to read the book, brother. It's baffling how much you get wrong with the book being only a couple hours wrong. Can't even think just this video is a bunch of wrong you got in 5 minutes. No. The Graphitals didn't hate sentient organic life. Yeah, let's check that one, bud. I think he does like say that they don't, but you know, it's kind of like saying like the Nazis didn't hate Jews. Like they did. They didn't see it as hatred, but they were hateful. I forgot that we kind of have to scroll through some of these pictures quickly because they're not censored. Oh boy. Gravital should be last, right? Because of the destruction. Gravitals. Even the Q had been loyal to life and they destroyed and subjugated their victims, but in the end they allowed them to survive. The machines, however, life was a luxury. It's not born out of any actual hatred. Again, it's like, sure. He says it's not actual hatred, but you're wiping things out. You hate them. Unaccustomed to their mechanical bodies, did not acknowledge the life of their organic cousins. This apathy was mixed with their insane claims that they are sole heirs of the Starmen. Extinctions carried out with the banality of, say, an engineer taking down a abandoned building. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it says they didn't hate people, but they hated people. Come on. Again, it's like Nazis saying they didn't hate the Jews. They just exterminated them. Apparently that was your only complaint, so might want to get good. Ray Curtis. That's some fictionalized stories you got there, stranger. Okay. Do you mean my theory or do you mean the story? Because yes, they're both fictional. I recommend reading non-fiction if you don't like fictional things. Booba. Monday Loons. I always wonder what the hell that dinosaur fossil discovery was supposed to signal. I like the theory. Thank you, Monday. Sammy Koenig. I always thought this wasn't a theory, but directly intended by the author. It could be. He hasn't confirmed it to me or anything, but who knows? I think this theory would be an awesome twist. Thank you. Jaeger, sorry. Brown Hooligan. Yeah, we are so based that we are our own enemy. I don't know if that is a attack on the thing or not. Apparently I said gray alien into the microphone so many times that now YouTube is recommending gray alien content. Thanks, active listening stuff. Daniel Montgomery, separate evolutions. Earth is a backwater planet that is actually exceptionally small. Life evolved 500 million years after Earth's creation by two planets crashing into each other and crashing Earth and the moon. Expect the next 3.5 billion years evolving. You don't have to tell me, brother. I'm a science nut. It is impossibly early for intelligence life. Okay, well, here's your problem. We've not encountered any other intelligent life. So how do you know that we evolved early or quickly? We could be slow as fuck. We could have evolved in the snap of the fingers. We don't know. We have nothing to compare it to. We just have ourselves. And because of the Fermi Paradox, we might be the first things to ever exist. Or might be last things to ever exist? Boo-wee-oo. I don't know. I don't know what you're going on about, mate. Bad Dragonite. Might also explain why the events in the text are said to have happened long ago, whilst also being set in the future. They happened a long time ago because they happened 2 billion years in the past from when the author is telling the story. Again, it's one of those things where it seems like he's agreeing with me, but also it's just the author explaining events that happened 2 billion years ago. Wizard Juice. See, but I don't think humans will ever unevolve their thumbs. Well, the gravitals could manipulate things with gravity and they got rid of their thumbs. And if the asteromorphs are even stronger than the gravitals, then yeah, they could probably just manipulate things with their mind at that point. There's their brain, but not their upper wings. It evolves into upper wings. With a little personnel involved, I'm guessing that is SCP-001, as always. Shard Flu Fox, awesome. Nice video, dude. Thank you, Shard. Surprised I didn't give you a like and heart for that. Must have missed it somehow. ZM, great video. What is the song that plays at the beginning? I don't recall anymore. It is one of Kevin MacLeod's free music tracks. Where can I read all tomorrow's or can I not? Says Muffin. It's a free PDF online. Just look it up. Frankie the Bull. When people speak of QAnon, is this the leader of it? So yeah, we're 6 months in the past now. So QAnon was a little bit of a bigger conversation point at that moment in time. No. But I understand that this is a joke. Dean Butler. I seen one other thing on the queue, and my first telepathic thought was humans. Cool. Thank you, Dean. Be like, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but then our narrator authors say that humans die out a billion years to the date they're restating this story. I personally took that as the asteromorphs are gone as well. So yes, the humans he's referring to are the asteromorphs. And that the narrator and the other species at the time are not connected to humans at all. It's also what I believe. That's why no one cares about Earth being rediscovered. You just have your dates. You just have your dates wrong. Earth was rediscovered when the asteromorphs were still around and the terrestrials were still around. It wasn't discovered later after that. A Metheros, higher plane existence. What could be higher than a god? Well, they're not literal gods. They just are all powerful. Well, they're not all powerful. They just think that they think of themselves as gods because they're so up their own ass. because they're so smart and everything. But the higher plane of existence, like in all sci-fi, is becoming pure energy and then becoming omnipresent in the universe. That is what I mean by a higher plane of existence. Atheros, I have a long one here. Don't agree with the Q are humans. That implies humans are the worst things ever. No, aliens can be that too. No, the Q are worse than gravitals. No, the gravitals are worse because they wipe things out completely. And at least the Q left people around by the author's own description. I believe they did care when Earth was rediscovered. It's mentioned in the book, but yeah, it's like a very little fanfare. They just send one ship out. No one really cares. We talked about that. I don't know how the asteromorphs felt. They seem to want to stop the Q and prevent any more wars, so maybe they did care for humans. The Q are humans, so maybe not. I don't know, hard to say. I would call some of these creatures humans, more like post-humans or primates. Just got to use the talking, because this is coming up a lot. I'm using the language of the author. The author calls asteromorphs and everything else humans. JTV, WTF did you just say? Humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. We have another person who doesn't understand the difference between civilization and evolving. Woo, yay. I'm pretty sure I didn't misspeak either. I said human civilization. I didn't say like evolved humans. A table. I appreciate the use of Ed Krause in the thumbnail. Thank you, a table. Nick Stepchuk. Could also be that the faction of the asteromorphs became the Q while the rest ascended or whatever. Yeah, certainly could have happened. Benny Hill, sorry, I hit the wrong button. That is a relationship and sex. What are you talking about? I'm not aware of how much the author went into discussing that, but surely if you can't have genetic authentication, the story to... Maybe I need to read his first comment here. This is the first I've seen. I've never read from it, but judging the comments of everyone who apparently has, I think everyone is missing out on the major realities of a species mixing a species evolving within itself. Don't tell the story of a technological recreation species, but about the few that fell in love with men and women of the race. Like to happen every single card is peacefully evolving. Okay, so he's just talking about post-humans breeding with each other. It might have been possible, but in All Tomorrows, he says that the post-humans never met in person, which I disagree with, which is what I talk about a lot in my second theory video. Doesn't make sense with the amount of time that passed that the races wouldn't have met in person, even if they didn't have FTL, even if they can't go very fast, they would still eventually be able to do it no problem. So, with the amount of time that went by. So you're right. Maybe it could have happened or something, but in the story as it's written, he said they never met. Nick Gear, what the heck? I had a personal theory just like this before watching the video. Cool. Andy Kirkness, nah. Great details in your explanation of a no, buddy. Pingus Dingus. Love how the Ruin Hunters pulled a Necron. Hey, someone else said that earlier too. AKA Reject Flesh and Progress to Machine. That's cool. I didn't realize that two people had made that comment. Dak and Lee. Existence is pain. The Q were looking for a way to die. No. They just thought they were superior to everyone. Eugenics at its finest, says Potato's Bed. Don't know what you mean specifically. High voltage. Same conclusion I came back to years back. We are our own enemies. Exactly. Wasted Viking, yes, but time travel sucks. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Maybe people just think that time travel is a crappy theory because it's like, maybe it's like, you know, like sleep theories. When it's like, oh, they were dreaming the whole time. Maybe that's why people hate the time travel idea. Actually, that makes more sense about it now that I think about it. People just resent it because it's more cool if they're actual aliens. Pinstripe, this is weird to say, but if you think about it, asteromorphs are the true successors of the star people. They're the only ones to evolve in the natural way from the Q. Yep. Bim Logan, The Vanishing Man. When I first heard the story, I was caught off guard. I've read some of the best science fiction man has wrote. This is unique and original. It's on the shelf with as was a Bradbury. Very cool. Yep. I agree. Windsor Hall, I see where you're going. Very nice. Spoilers. Stephen Baxter spoilers too. This reminds me of Time Ships by Stephen Baxter, successor to the Time Machine. Is this spoilers? I'm not sure that this is spoilers. Oh no. Here we go. Vincent Hall, way back in 2008. Haha. Long ago, way back would be 1970. See a better. Oh, he has a website instead. I think he might be a little bit older than me, Vincent. So 2008 doesn't seem as long ago to you. It was half my life ago, and I'm a grown man. I'm not going to read this name because it's a website. I don't want you to necessarily go to it and get scammed or something. Now you know where the electronic game of Tetris originates. T symbolizes many things, including the head of the Q. Internet technology makes it IT, satisfying all your 21st century. It's a to Amazon. All delivered to your door. You don't need to lift a finger. Is fast track to a. Okay, you might need some help. Das Kalb. I don't like this necessarily either. I guess maybe at this point in time I was liking all comments just to get engagement up. Das Kalb makes me think if we should really breed dogs that have trouble breathing because if they're cute, or cows who utter stopping them. Yeah, we shouldn't. It's pretty mean of us. Zanko Spankos, very fun idea. Thank you. Red Mercury, when's the movie coming out? That'd be cool. Minsu Kim, that was really my first thought. An altogether disappearance? Either they pissed off God or dipped into the limits of technology. Imagine yourself as the apex of advanced species. If you go back a few 100 million years over again, watching over your origins advance faster and faster every single time, occasionally taking notes when they come up with something you haven't, and just repeating the process, eventually you have a perfect organism to model yourself after, with perfect technology to adapt, and you brought from the shadows, essentially. Yep, that's basically my idea here. Well, I don't know if that's a loop that's happening multiple times, but at least happens once. Stupid. My theory is that the Q were similar to humans and they were attacked by something that's not from their galaxy and the Q were genetically modified. Didn't we read this before? This seems familiar. We might just be having people coming up with the same ideas. Basically, they're saying the story of the Q is the same as what happened to humans and the epicephali, which could be the case. Don't think I'm going to do that, Elizabeth. Generic dude. The author is the god. Holy shit. I don't know what you mean by that necessarily. Sir Lion. Yeah, no, never heard about any of this. About the Q or human theory, about all tomorrows. Why are you commenting if you don't care? Joel, time travel is always a bit wonky. Yep. Oh. That was a jerk. Don't worry about it. Let's see humans giving up physical attraction completely. Based on the look of the spacer and stuff, I'm pretty sure that they did in the story. Kostas, an interesting theory. I like it. Thank you. Ruby Sultra. What if the Q live outside the universe and have never actually been in it? They just hang out and look at. Okay, you're making the Star Trek joke again. Harp Seal drew this. This is probably the officious animation one, and which species is which. Can't tell you which one is which. All tomorrow. I agree. With that. Jake Bannon. I think it's a loop, but not necessarily a closed one, more of a corkscrew through multidimensional time. Things are open to change and branching out, but are in a threat of probability or intentional manipulation. So the Q re-evolve and mainly persist to still itself until it ascends beyond the ability to recognize and break itself out of the loop. Okay. My brain might be slowing down. Rodan. It's a pretty old story. Coming out in 2008. Not old in any respect of writing, my dude. Baby in writing. But It was half my life ago. As I always say. Told you this happens up a lot. Nerdlifts, I disagree with the notion that asteromorphs were as evil as the Q. Yes, they were. Asteromorphs perfectly meet species in other galaxies with the intention of forming cooperative relationships. I think they just happened upon them. And then because we shared a similar history, we decided to work with them. The Q are totally sociopaths, when the asteromorphs mean well but fail under execution. Well, they should be smart enough and wise enough to not have failed in their execution, right? For example, they try to set up worlds where beings are free. They didn't set them up for their free. They set them up so they had managers. And then they all failed based on the language of the book. That wasn't just some or anything. Terrific Marrow 2, and then they'd wipe out anyone who spoke out. Terrific Marrow 2. What kind of God is real? That parent, oh yeah, that's the 2000. That's the SCP-001. That used to be called God, but apparently is no longer God. Logan Kidwowski. I think it's an interesting idea, but it's a lot of speculation. That's the point of a theory, my dude. Golden Fox Ernesto Lapore. Skip to the repick. Hey, another one of these. You didn't read the description where I have a link to where I start the theory, which also puts a timestamp on the video so that you can skip forward. And I believe I even mentioned in the video that you can skip forward. So trying to be a douche by posting this doesn't help. Legionnaire Emmanuel. Or that's in. Okay. Here's the kill agent. FO3 is better than New Vegas. Doryman Kozeman will comment on your vid eventually. He did comment on the other video. Check that out, actually. I keep bringing that up and then we don't talk about it. Oh, this is weird. What the hell? Why? This is a Let's Play? Let's Plays normally don't do go? Okay. All right. Wow. Okay, so this is the other All Tomorrow's video. You on YouTube, please? Hey, I had an intro and stuff back then. CM Kozeman. Very valid points all in all. I will correct them and more, and I'll cite you in the final book for helpful. Thank you, Kozeman. Do you think this guy was... I don't know if this guy's being a jerk or if he wasn't being a jerk. No, this has a thumbs up. I doubt someone else did, so maybe he wasn't being a jerk. Kind of sounds like being a jerk, though. Okay. Well, you're right. 1,000 years off, bud. That's like 80 to 90% correct. Yeah, there's the guy 26 with the 001 reference. Titus Uzumekis. Great video. My only concern about this theory is that it's nearing the end of the book. The writer writes, one could go indefinitely chronicling how the United Galaxies re-encounters subdue the Q. I believe that this is on the first paragraph of the Earth Rediscovered chapter. No, you have the events out of date. Earth Rediscovered happens before that. The conclusion recap where he mentions like attacking the Q and stuff is after. Order events, which happened a couple times. Read the book. Philip Rhodes and or the Q were humans that traveled out before some other huge war that left normal humans alone for millennia. Again, this is another... That sounds like the theory of the Q evolving in the past and then surviving for a long time separately. So someone else must have had a theory like that. Human. Oops, didn't mean to press my space bar. Feng Hua. Didn't we see a comment from you earlier? I think would be interesting twist is that when the asteromorphs defeat the Q, they discover a message left for them by the Q. So the Q were originally asteromorphs that traveled to the past. What that would mean is that they are caught in a time paradox. And if the asteromorphs didn't travel back in time and become the Q, the asteromorphs... You may be correct, but I have a headache now. Tyler Guyan Lorenzo Leach. God, don't drag me back into this rabbit hole. Ibra Hafish Bagashara. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these pronunciations. Someone tell me what the reference of this picture is at 2:58. I cannot. Wait, can I open this in a new tab? Let's do that. For the first contact. Oh, that's the mimetic kill agent. Zach Plath. So I don't know if this is a joke. Like, I don't know if you like forget about seeing the kill agent, or if you actually care, but that's the SCP Foundation if you do. I don't buy a lot of the deep time stuff, like how the Q can possibly be considered nomadic when they park themselves for 40 million years before moving on. I guess that's kind of true, but the book does say that they're nomadic, so that's not just me saying it. It doesn't go into the lifespan, but even with supernaturally extended lifespan, you're going to live that long without falling into the tub. Well, they're reproducing, I'm sure. But also, they probably do have immortality figured out, biological immortality. You'd have to be a next level static species to not change over that course of time. I'm not sure that that's necessarily true. With that much time, you could build mobile planets, basically. Sort of like how the bug-eating humans were xenophobic for millions of years because of one war. Like, you can go through hundreds of civilizations and millions of elected officials, and every single one of them is like, yep, still xenophobic. Almost seems to intentionally contrast rapid dynamic change and the complete lack of it. And it's not realistic by the standards that we know, but by this point, they might not be quite as human as we are now. In fact, they definitely are not. And they went through a lot, so like, it's almost surprising to me that the asteromorphs would work with the amphicephali after everything that happened. If I were them, I'd be incredibly xenophobic of anything and just wipe them out. Unless I just wasn't strong enough to do so. All right, I meant the stegosaurus. That's what I meant. Gravamax. Speed Boy always thought, what if the Q, after dominating time itself, decided to restore Earth and repopulate ordinary humans to give humans a second chance? Well, the Q wouldn't do that because the Q hate humans. Ryan Subhan, they wanted to become planets and they become atoms. Don't know what you mean. Jolo Popo, how do you have a resource war in space? Really infinite resources, just look around. I mean, you eventually run out. I don't think anything was about resources, though. Could be wrong. I don't remember anything being about resources necessarily. Oscar Hano. So Q versus asteromorph is human versus serpent, save for the rest of the story. Yep. That is my point. Rock, that's correct. Super recommended, and like anyone else, watch the whole thing. Thank you, Rock. Blinky but not. Holy C. Thank you, Blinky. Tom Maravani. Still feel like the book talks about human history. The system of terrestrials who rule the worlds in the asteromorph's place is quite similar to ancient theocracies and despotism. Yep. Andre Bejnar says Jeffrey. Couldn't agree more. Ajay Cheryl 10. Oh, what we got here? I will. Oh, thank you for loving the video. Oh no, sorry, I did not like and comment your thing. Feel bad about that now. I'm not sure what my point at 10 minutes was. Mastery over time would allow them to erase any suspicious buildup of technology and progress retroactively. Once the breakthrough is made, there's no time limit to any task. Even with a single machine, it'd be tedious, but you could pluck every member of the entire species one by one if you have to out of time. I mean, it depends on how the time travel machine works, right? My idea is that they probably built the thing up for a really long time, never did any kind of testing because they're scared S-less. They're just tossing things back in time because it might eliminate them, and maybe it did. So they just built it until they were as sure as they could be about it, and then they went in without any testing, without anything else. They probably didn't put a time machine through the time machine with them so that they could keep doing it. And then they were more limited with what they had left in the past. Ralph. Basing on the last words in the book, I think it's not about human beings able to control time or evolving. It's a purely natural extinction. Well, they found no trace, is the thing. They vanished without a trace, so no one knows like what happened to them. If they naturally went extinct, there'd be bones and stuff, but there's like nothing left. Nathan Brooks. Book explains all of this. The cure nomads. Yes. Doesn't necessarily say where the Q came from before that, though. That's the thing. On a galaxy left more planets to change. At the opposite end, the asteromorphs left the terrestrials help guide new humans. Watch out for more like species of another invasion. Okay. You're the one who needs to reread. Incredibly insulting. I've proven it many times here that I read when most people did not read. Asteromorphs did not try to fix what the Gravitals had done. They just started playing Q. They started turning the bug facers into different types of humans and stuff. And then they completely failed. All the terrestrials became corrupt. They'd wipe out anything that thought on its own free will. They're bad. So you read the book again. And this is the same person. Hey, being a total jerkwad again. I told you that I was going to recap. And then I said, you can check the description. And then the timeline, it links to where I start talking about the actual theory. Shut up, Nathan Brooks. You're a terrible human being. Hope you are happy with yourself. Mirror Monkey 2. Saying that the Q can't be insectoid because they don't have an exoskeleton makes no sense. If they evolved completely separately from life on Earth, very well have features which we perceive as insectoid and others which we preserve as a mammalian. I mean, they could. They could also not. CPR. If they missed the target timeline, why wouldn't they just jump forward a bit? Like I said, I don't think they brought a time machine back in time with them. Maybe the time machine is like a huge investment thing that they had to build. And they just can't take one with them. And then when they're back in time, they don't have the resources to make one again. Big B Goog. So asteromorphs play with trillions of lives to ensure their great galactic empire. Makes Hitler's work like a Dr. Seuss book. Yep. That's pretty much all Tomorrow's in a nutshell several times over. David Martin, are you basing this on the original one or the video that got popular? So this is another person who's saying, I didn't read when I did read. Based on a popular one, you should know there's some things he said are essentially wrong. No, because he just didn't cover everything. Gravital, okay. This is too long to read. I've proven at several occasions here that I've read the book. Gravitals, not gravitons, by the way. Themselves is spelled with a V. He says they don't hate other life, but it doesn't matter. It's like saying that Hitler didn't hate Jews. They did. They just didn't think of it that does themselves. So became more Q, but even more radical. No. They had Q relics on their planet as well. The Ruin Haunters do have Q relics on their planet. Boopity boopity boop. I will prove it, and then you'll know that I have read the book and you have not read the book. We gotta find our boys. These are Q pyramids. Only 1,000 years after the Q departure, a Ruin Haunter wanders among the shattered pyramids of the city of the Star People. There are shattered remains of the cities of Star People. The dominating form of the even greater Q pyramid can be seen in the background. So yeah, there's some stuff in the foreground, like this stuff is the Star People stuff. This pyramid in the background is the Q pyramid. You are wrong. I read the book and you did not. And I just proved it on camera to thousands of people. How do you feel? David Martin. It brought me horrifying dreams while partially listening to this recommended video from Old Ship X while sleeping. Yeah, maybe not the best idea. Oh, this is my friend, Danny. Yo, this video kind of blew up. How are you, baby? Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Quinn. What the Q did to us is what we did to dogs. Think about it. A little bit. I mean, we haven't turned dogs into flesh bricks yet, but I wouldn't put it past us. 424. I think this is the officious animation picture people keep talking about. TC System Director. It's just history being itself. Yep. Nelly Omega. Haven't read the book. Only found about it yesterday. I'm so intrigued by the lore. Yep. Void Boys. Why does he sound like the little hologram guy who breaks down the Endocron in Adventure Time? Me? I will have to look that up. But I didn't do that. It'd be cool if I did. Lombardo 141. That's what I thought. I figured the Q was the asteromorphs. Thank you. Or 10. Haha, it's Squidward. That's probably the Ruin Hunter. The Hayloft. Kill Agent. Hunky Dory. Get off hard, did they? Who? Caleb J. So you maybe want to enunciate your words. Give me an excuse. You can cut and edit. No. If I didn't enunciate properly, it wouldn't matter if I cut and edit. I did cut and edit. It was my first time making a video of this nature, and I was talking too fast, as I said before. Sushi Sora. I just came up for a theory. If this is true, I watched a coffee pasta about the moon talking about something on it, warning us not to go to space, and then science has proven the moon is an asteroid. No, that's not true, by the way. Asteromorphs live in asteroids. What is this true? The story is true, and the moon is the waiting place for the Q. Are you talking about real life? Like, no, it's fictional, but the Q don't exist. The moon is not an asteroid. A planet the size of Mars crashed into Earth. The impact was so powerful that it basically turned the Earth and this planet into a molten goo. And as we rotated, this goo flew off. I guess it's not goo, magma and stuff, right? This goo pulled off and then solidified into the moon. So it's a mix of another planet and Earth. But then Earth also is too. So basically the moon and Earth are made of the same stuff. No S. First I've heard of all tomorrows. Don't think that's an insert of anything. But Sabraxis. First released in 2006, not 2008. This might be true. Let's look it up. Mara's original release date. 2006. Okay. So I said that 2008 was a long time ago. 2006, huh? Ooh. Yeah, if you thought 2008 wasn't a long time ago. 2006 is basically a different era of technology. Because smartphones didn't exist. YouTube barely existed. I think that, 2006 is when the Google bought YouTube. So it didn't really exist that much, It wasn't like being used the same way it is now. Smartphones didn't exist. Facebook didn't exist. Twitter didn't exist. 2006 is like almost a totally different universe compared to 2000, even to 2008, but definitely to now. So sure, it came out in 2006, and then that makes everyone who complains about 2008 not being long enough ago even more incorrect. Must be turned into a TV show. This is the officious animation one, I think. Are the Q human? And all of a sudden the title is way less pretentious. Okay, here. Like, I'm here to tell you, I'm like the biggest critic of like titles and thumbnails you'll ever find on YouTube. This title is correct for what the theory is. The theory is that the Q are human, and they are. All you're suggesting is like a different order of the words, which doesn't really change much. And the video would not have done as well if I had done this, by the way. All right, yeah, that's the I meant the stegosaurus. Sorry, Garathon, I meant the stegosaurus. This is weird. Vulpine. Because we're getting close. I guess I'd maybe change my name right away. Or some kind of god is real. I could make. I just thought maybe I was still Lanso 90 by this time. Philosophical figure Q. Drops by to taunt the Q. Q. Angry noises. It's another Star Trek Q joke. Scorn. 2008, isn't that old? I thought you were going to say like 1970s. It was a very long time ago. It was half my life ago. Bliss. And actually it's 2006, so it was more than half my life ago. Bliss. Always found it weird that the Q had human chests. Do they? Do she have the booty? Do she have the chest? Yeah, you know. You're not entirely wrong there. Thank you. Thank you, Bliss. Kraz 29. In reality, the author is the real god, just rewinding time over and over, taking the advanced humanity, forgot his past, bring it back. Then why would they did without even realizing they were doing it to themselves? Now that I say just cancel the author is God part. Huh? I guess he's basically just saying that the author is messing around with time so that he can research his tasks. But since he doesn't know what happens to humans and stuff, I would say it's probably not true. Big ambitions. This is Animal Farm with extra steps. All tomorrow's is, or my theory? I don't think my theory is, but as far as all tomorrow's goes, I don't know about that either. Because his point, don't think his point is so much political as much as it's just like live in the moment and stuff, right? Joe Aldrine Meldros. I think the series started a time loop. Yep, that's my theory. Art lover. Those pictures assuming the same symbolism between the Q and the asteromorphs is what sparked my theory about the asteromorphs being Q. Though my theory wasn't all fleshed out with the Q time traveling dictating human evolution, without us having a clue they ever existed. The apparent message about how humans aren't really any better than the Qs morality-wise was in the back of my mind. I thought of it as more of a paradox, deterministic as you will. We see this out of the blue outsider Q as an alien monster, yet we circle back to the same thing ourselves. Psychological horror. Yep. That is my idea. I think it makes sense. Epidrom. Maybe they ascent to a higher level of existence, into the sublime, like Ian Banks described in the Culture series, where the entire species ascends together. Only a few will choose to stay. Yes, that's a possibility. Normal Sing. So basically humans attaching themselves to make humanity stronger via hate. I suppose so. Chaos fried eggs. It's kind of funny. If the Qs never arrived, evolution of mankind would have went through another form of weirdness. After conquering many worlds, humans influenced by their favorite shows and anime would have... Okay. Shows like anime. Choose to go through biological manipulation to become bunny people, tire humans. So you're still furries. Hard stickers. For people. The Zuckerberglings. I don't know how I missed this pose. It's kind of funny. Yes, 2008 is old for me, Maxim. It is half my life ago. But didn't the Galactic Human Associations or whatever drive the Q to extinction? Yes. My point is that the asteromorphs went back in time and became the Q. It was not the Q who went back in time. InfoWeeb. They could have also told a select few humans. Now as the new Q of what would happen. Led them to hide among the asteroids and eventually evolve into the asteromorphs. Well, I'm saying they don't remember what happens. The asteromorphs that evolve into the Q believe that they are the Q. And they don't remember who the Q were before. The music, says Jonathan. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Other people like the music, so maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Jorge Camaras Lopez. Dios Cierto. I feel like I've heard this said before, but I don't know what it means. Hopefully it's not something bad. Get me Spanish, please. I don't know why it doesn't default to like, oops, I'm dumb. Oh. God chair. Okay. Sure. Vanillatron Jr. Tough, it was going the other way. The Q and humans are the same species at some point, like if they rented only asteromorphs and killer folk, for example. Rented. And other species quit, possibly also a human or another more old animal ancestor. Just make those mutations on themselves. Okay. Vanillatron, I'm so sorry. Autocorrect really had its way with your post there. Rose Ray. Wasn't paying attention, just clicked on this. Thumbnail is a lie. No? What's that? Understood now. I'll watch the video. It's like a stretch. Also, the thumbnail is a parody, right? Also, I love your K. Okay, that turned more positive. I did reply. But yeah, the thumbnail is a play on the Sans' Nest meme. Because I thought this theory would be considered super outlandish, but I guess people actually did kind of like it. Crimson Wolf 1982. Tell you how much I hope this never becomes a movie. My theory or all tomorrow's? That's the first one we've had that. Most people wanted this to become a movie. Diego Nathan. Yes, Spinosaurus, not stegosaurus, not Spinosaurus. Christian Maltos James. The first generation's aeons before us. What? I don't know what you mean. Bigfoot, way back in 2008. Wow, I feel old. This is not necessarily a knock in the 2008 statement. Might actually be an agreement. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have some fun. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. And as a reward, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna create a post. We're gonna create a post here. It's 2008, a long time ago. Yes. No. Well, make more sense. An upcoming video. Okay. Oh no, five notifications. We're not going to talk about the 5 notifications. It's probably not good. Okay. 908 animates. Oh shit, I hate time loops. Yeah, everyone does. 908 animates. Space Boy be like, yeah, me hide now, bye-bye. Then you deck Metal Boy, bye now. And then, yeah, I'm tired of this time. Fix the galaxy, put this... Little boy, it's gonna be hard to say. I am the Gogulabulab, the Shibalabalabalabalabalabalab. Only humans can be so heartless. True. Cat Cruz was talking about the mimetic kill agent. Bone Money 48. What if the dinosaurs were intelligent alien species themselves, and when the Proto-Q came, they played an earlier advantage of what they do in the future, making the dinosaurs genetic augmented of a past, maybe intelligent species? It's not the case because I guess it could have happened, but they would have had to evolve really quickly. Because it's the dinosaur that they find, like we talked about earlier, is the descendant of a species of dinosaur that actually existed on Earth. So it was not intelligent when it was on Earth. So unless it evolved in the meantime between those 2 points, maybe. But I think it's just to say that the Q had been to Earth in the past. They picked up a dinosaur for some reason, and then they went somewhere else, which means the Q might come back. David Snick. The asteromorphs versus the gravitals. It's really like the Necrons versus the old ones. Okay, that's the third person. 8. Okay, so my theory is that the author killed everyone was just lying. Okay. I can't really disprove that. I don't think it's the case, though. It's not really the point of the story. Midgard, Stormer, Apophysis, Spinosaurus. Okay, yeah, Stegosaurus. That's what I meant. Sea Teal. Never heard of All Tomorrows, but this sounds good. It is good. I recommend reading All Tomorrows if you haven't yet, bud. Casper the Ram Knight. What is this painting? That is the medic kill agent, I think. Yes. Brandon Best. My knees are stiff. See, I'm an old man now. 2008, I was not an old man. This is just, I have no mouth and I'm screaming with extra steps. I've seen the cover for that. I don't know if it's a story or if it's a book. I've seen the cover for that book, but I've never read it or played it. Ezo, there needs to be a live action representation of this novel. It'd be hard to watch, but it'd be a masterpiece. True? It would. Dr. Plague, I'd like to see the Q versus the Gould from Stargate. I mean, both have megalomaniacal tendencies, advanced technology, and a history of genetic modification. Yep. Birds of dinosaurs. Okay, but how do you explain the Q's aquatic stage if there are human swimmers, perhaps because their life cycle involved an aquatic larval stage, and the Q transmitted a large number of their human subjects to a bewildering array of aquatic creatures? The book never says anything about a Q's aquatic stage. What I think happened here is you probably watched a theory video of some other kind of nature that said that they came from an aquatic nature because they saw the similarity to the Precambrian shrimp. Or the Cambrian shrimp, not Precambrian. Tucker Nuts. I like to think the humans didn't want to follow the Q's egotistical crusade and decided to ascend elsewhere as to prevent themselves becoming their biggest enemy. Usually when you ascend in like sci-fi, you become at all places and all times and pure energy all at once. So I don't think you can go somewhere else and then ascend, but you know, no one can say how ascension would work. Vocal Free. Yeah, he travels back in time to take out revenge on the exact Q that tortured them. Just to find there are no Q anywhere to be found, so they realize they are in fact the Q. Keep existing the way they have to torture their own kind. They do that with a stoic face to keep up the facade and preserve the timeline, but on the inside they experience incredible pain. Maybe. It's actually a really liked comment. I think we're getting towards the oldest stuff. I don't really think so, though. Lorenzo Cordova. This long. My throat's starting to give out. I'm thinking someone was systematically wiping out some of the humans after the Q left, but before the gravitals. Okay, the Bugface were attacked by aliens. Other seemingly natural disasters. So they think about how the Q can manipulate the cosmos around them. Thinking someone froze the Titans planet, rammed the asteroid into the Tempter's planet, squashed all those mouse people. Seems random on nature's course. It's a cool idea. I don't think it was really the case, though. The point was in the story, like most post-humans, the vast majority of them, like, didn't matter, like, at all, or go anywhere with anything, or weren't interesting. Most of them were extinct. It's not necessarily guaranteed that they will re-evolve into some sort of way. So the ones he brings up are the ones that were like the most interesting and the most successful. And then many of the most successful ones still got wiped out anyway by random events. But it is a cool idea, and there's not necessarily any reason why this couldn't be true. And the aliens that attack the bug people are still a really big question too. Anyone remember the amphicephali? Asks one framed. That weird alien lizard creature that has another lizard creature coming out of their mouths from another galaxy. I speculate they are a result of experiments that time travelers, human asteromorph do with the dinosaurs that or headache. Amphicephali abomination. No, it says the amphicephali were also trolled by the Q. To put it kindly, trolled. Have a nice day, says new follower. Thank you, thank you. Have a nice day. My theories is that the Q are the cousins of original humans. I don't know exactly what you mean by cousins, but this kind of sounds like what other people have been saying, that Qs are humans that evolve separately somehow. Robloxian Gojai. I really like this theory. Thank you, Robloxian Gojai. People are going to get a bunch of likes and hearts all of a sudden. They're going to be like, what the hell? Maybe that's what my notifications are. Very nice. But hey, that's just a theory. Topher 69 easy. I suspected the same. The missing links of the Earth chickens, dinosaur, other planet, the disappearance of, well, the chickens are, if you're talking about the ones that evolved and killed the striders, they were just their livestock that they had brought with them. The star people had brought with them to that planet and then had evolved after humans weren't managing them anymore. But the dinosaur was lifted up. The disappearance of the final post-humans after allying with the other aliens, just those other aliens are future humans. Oh, I don't know about that. Time travel multiple times to fill up the universe so humans wouldn't feel so lonely. Cute, though, like so. Very likely the first aliens encountered by the big people humans were these particular one big people, star people, being different. Humans' evolution is probably what scared the bug people with xenophobia. The other left due to this or not affect their apparent fate, which could pass said alien in question. With time travel, this really complicates things. I stretch it out further. It could be a numeral branched out versus the post-humans living in separate galaxies. Could be, I suppose. How do we not know that the Q made toys out of some humans? They basically did. The Mantelope and Satyriacs, the version before the Satyriacs. Hedonist. The Mantelope and Hedonist were basically toys for the Q. Thorak Harris. Theory they aren't related. Humans are just following in Q's footsteps. They cannot break the loop. Yeah. What the fuck? Dustin Herc, waiting for CBS to sue the F out of all tomorrows for stealing the idea of advanced aliens named Q or Q. Q, however you want to say it, they're protected by their KPs. It won't play out in court. I've watched enough videos about copyright law. It's not substantially similar enough. Feeling crabby. There is credit in the description. If this is Orphachios' animation thing, I did put credit in the description. Robon Mew. I don't like how the Hat Pat viewer model is used here. I guess he means Ed Kraus. He is generic stock footage picture. Riptide Studios, cool. Anyway, who's waiting to become some weird predator or sentient brick? Me? The star people might have been weak, but this theory is even weaker. You have one whole like there, bud. 251, Justin Cody. I'm pretty sure that's a mimetic kill agent. Southwest Snail. I don't think the Stereomorphs are literally the Q, but certainly adopted Q-like traits. A little long, even if the time travel didn't happen, who knows? Maybe it was the lack of humanity that truly killed everyone off. I don't know about that. Everything else was fine. It was just humans that disappeared. It's a pretty well-liked comment, though. Crowley Kozlowski. If the Q were humans, then they needed to be incels. Giving such fate to BA Colonial such an Omega move. Dark, truly a cursed timeline. Vaporwave Vocap. If true, I don't think they'd be going back for the good of humanity. It seems more like going back on good of keeping the timeline stable. Like they realized the Q were them and had to go back and do this, otherwise they never would have been born. Well, maybe that's why they vanished. Game sucks. Game theory. Humanity would have effed up big time if they were allowed to just do what they do. And the Q setting humanity back actually saved the universe in a very grotesque way. Maybe, but since humans were spreading across the galaxy, it's not likely that they would have done something that would have wiped them all out. And they probably would have been several billion years more advanced if the star people had just kept advancing. Bad goy, I want to be the Q. Okay. You do you, bud. Nickel Blade, the real flamingo. In Hollywood, oh, okay. I thought this was just going to be like a self-brag thing, but he's talking about something. Paramount Uni Warner is based off the sub-director calls Q the Lights in Action. It's not far from us, from different layer around us. Some World War II cities never regrouped and stayed in ruin, but combined future cities, two countries. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. The Horto Man, cool video. Trucks live. Okay, yeah, the stegosaurus. Sam Garcia, an astronaut with the Ohio Patch, holds up again. Always has been. Yep. Henry Yancey. You guys like all tomorrows? Check out the film Fantastic Planet. Truly wonderful. Sure. Rodion Raskunolov. Honestly, this theory does not make any sense for me. The Q itself is a weird being, anatomically speaking. That limb to manipulate the environment does not make sense for a species that can genetically engineer for themselves. The asteromorphs anatomy, on the other hand, totally makes sense. So there's no logic in evolving into a lesser being. So it's just more likely that they would just create another universal dimension or migrate to another dimension, becoming a type 4 civilization, going back in time to alter things, make humanity stronger by effing them up for millions of years just self-fully. Well, their intention wasn't to F people up on purpose. With my theory. And my theory would also be that the asteromorph gods can basically manipulate things with their minds. They don't need their appendages and stuff to control things. So it makes sense to just remove them. Georgian GE, nice theory, thank you. Spoon McDoggo, you're just going to show a lethal cognohazard like that. Gotta show me a warning. That is the SCP-001 thing. V. Iqui. Nice theory, bro. Thank you. Kaylee Fisher. I used to think that another gray thing. I used to think the grays were exactly like this, us traveling back to prevent environmental disaster. But now I think the grays are hyper-intelligent octopus. Imagine all the octopus we are familiar with, like being like the chimp or maybe raccoon. Octopus are an apex predator like us. They depend on stealth and cunning rather than being tooth and claw like us. Even their less evolved relatives, octopi we know, are tool makers, users with extreme dexterity. Okay. Thoughts? I don't have thoughts on this. It's not really the topic of the theory. Charlie Shaw Pintic, gravitals are just racist bowling balls. I think we've seen this kind of comment before. Yep. Correction. All right. Tyrannosaurus. Yeah. Stegosaurus, not Spinosaurus. Yes. Good poll. Wait, if the Q evolved as asteromorphs, would that mean they led to their own existence? How does that work? Yes. Yes, for the reasons we've talked about before. None of your business. NGL only clicked as a foxy dude on the thumbnail. There wasn't a foxy dude on Ed Krause? Think Ed Krause is attractive is what you're saying? Okay. Interesting. For a second, it's like Command Line Vulpine is not on the thumbnail of this video, so they don't mean that. King Nazy question mark? Theory is good and all, but it's weird like going to put bandages on yourself and so you get your arm off. But it's the first theory I've heard. The author is holding a normal human skull. I wonder where it came from. Yep, I also wonder about that because the skull shouldn't be around 2 billion years in the future. It would decay at that point. Darth, maybe it's a replica. And Darth Memius. This really easily applies on the sadistic and vicious nature of our species. Bainerain tagged the author. He enjoys communicating with fans. I didn't tag him in this video. I tagged him in the second one. I don't know if he's seen this one. Surely he's seen this one too. It's the Italio telling me about the stegosaurus again. C.R. Smith. Amazing video. I love the idea. Also fits in the common trope that humanity is our own worst enemy. Yep. That is what I was going for. Pongo Punch. I don't know, half of the other comments are saying similar stuff, but it's more of a parallel. The book even mentions the Q's obsession with genetic alteration. Originally stemmed from a good place, but over time it was R-worded to what it is now. I don't know if it says it came from a good place. I think it just meant that they gardens of humanity seem empty to the Q. No raw materials other than people. Because humans erased the original alien ecologies, offended by another race trying to remake the universe. Rebuild it in their vision. It's about to complete extinguishment of human sentience. See, the author uses the term sentience for what he was saying was sapience, but it's not even sapience, it's human level intelligence, right? This word is fine. Yeah, there's nothing here about, oh shoot. Oh, maybe. Powerful as gods, the Q saw themselves as the divine harbingers of the future. The dogma was rooted in what had been a benevolent attempt to protect the race from its own power. However, blind and questioning opinions have made monsters of the Q. Get back to where it was to see if that originally stemmed from a good place. Mostly wanted to protect itself. It doesn't seem like it cared about like other things. So I'm not sure about that. The candle maker. No, all tomorrow's candle. No likes, so disagree with you there. Cal Kennett tells us directly the Q are not human. No, it does not say that they are not human. It just says that they are true. It doesn't say that they're true aliens. It just says they came out of nowhere. They are nomads. Well, the asteromorphs realized that they had become the Q. I'm sure they still at least have some record of it. Maybe, but it's been an extremely long time by that point. By that point, they might have cared more about like the gravitals or something, you know? I think the message is that history repeats itself. Yep. And they just resemble the Q to show they have accidentally followed our steps. Yeah, it's probably the most likely scenario. Stoker Gamer, what dramatization? The Alt-Shift-X video is what I mean. Furry, question mark? Yes. New bro. Mario Gonzalez, the Q were destroyed by the asteromorphs, so they destroyed themselves. Kinda. Trying to think of the throughput there. Yamato Hiromori, who even is the opera? Is he a copper-based life form? It doesn't say who he is. I don't think he's one of the copper-based life form things. By the way, how colonial birth, how they move or just stack above each other. They grow along the ground like a carpet and split off each other like an amoeba. Orbism world building. What if the asteromorphs continue to expand through space and time, not only created, but became every alien species in that universe by heritage? Also love the theory. Maybe. Orbism world building. I honestly think that the gravitals were more brutal with their toying than the Q were. Though it could be that we didn't see most of the species that were broken. All the Q's creations were still fairly practical organisms. The Q did some pretty horrible things to some people. I personally think that a lot of the humans went extinct in the same ways that animals do IRL. Because they are impractical and broken, but the gravitals just mess with the bug phasers for fun. Based on what you hear, they didn't care about the practicality of the organisms. They just had pet toy art piece. Yep, basically. Hurry. Grow up. Let's grow up, dude. Japanese name. I can't read that. Still feel embarrassed because they're called as Q. I don't know what you mean. Sir Nasher. Back in 2008. I am old now? Yes, you probably are. Flying fetus, interesting, but I think it has some holes. I think they didn't. Oh, this might be long. Okay, I will answer whatever your first question is. I think they didn't care for the humans since they were literal gods compared to them. With tens of millions of years of difference. With what? You mean the Q or the gravitals or the asteromorphs? Because they all kind of did the same thing. Those aren't the wings, those are the brain. They evolve from my brain into wings because that's useful. They probably have the brain in their head got more complicated to make up for. Or their wings could still have the brain in them and it doesn't matter. Still, I've always found speculative evolution, time traveling, and alien intervention so unique. One reason I love the concept of alien super empires like the Combine and Half-Life 2, the Q from Ultimaris. Yep, it's cool. My eel, it's a paradox. Who is the first to come back to the past? If the humans didn't meet the Q, the gravitals wouldn't exist. The asteromorphs were enslaved. The asteromorphs never leave the gravitals. Probably wouldn't have gone to the past. That doesn't matter because the asteromorphs become the Q and then they fulfill their role. Jackson Furlong. Well, if the Q named themselves the Q, then they're not only human. They're making a direct reference to ancient human culture. Star Trek reference. It's just, I don't even know how to answer it, to be honest with you. I think it's just happenstance. Maybe CM Kozeman was paying homage. Monster? No. Definable? Never. I can see this theory now. The genetic science used to make the star people was then abused by a secret cult of humans that sought perfection and went out conquering galaxies because their brain's really big and they're smarting everything. And then they came back and took over our galaxy for fun. Okay. Monster? No. Definable? Never. Well, you left a comment much more recently too, didn't you? Back against your formations will make you a sentient colony of cult sections that will then present a filter are dung for all eternity versus this killer simile. Oh, how far are we to this? Humans' greatest enemy in all tomorrows turned out to be themselves. Thank God that is just fiction. Fatty McFox. Maybe the Q, instead of just transcending into another dimension, they transcended franchises to taunt humanity, explode the galaxy, and beige pastel ships. Another Q Star Trek joke. The Q are human, but you've overcomplicated it. A Q is formless, especially. Okay. Good joke, Taterade. Good joke. Josh O'Rose. Oh, this might be the top comment, actually. With good reason. It's pretty good. The way I see it is that the end is left so mysterious you can pull it in yourself, thus making everyone's theories correct. Sure. It's always valid. Colonials are the true OGs. Nope, it's all made up, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Every party needs a pooper, that's why they invited you. Party pooper. Party pooper. Touch grass. A same Abion. Made a dark story even darker. Yep. Bruh. Maybe the real reason humanity are the friends we Maybe the real humanity are the friends we modified along the way. It's pretty good. Human's greatest enemy turned out to be itself. God, Mother Nature, and Satan. The code of hell. Yeah, yep. Minecraft villager. Always a good joke. Even Terminator, Free This Flame. Waste Yellow. Hopefully the Altamara's recent popularity may lead to a new book series. He's working on a rewrite. Kara Furry. I was kind of considering this idea when I first seen the queue. Cool. Angel Gomez. I just wanted to say that the Gravitals didn't hate by... Talked about this. It says they didn't hate them. That doesn't mean that if Hitler says he didn't actually hate the Jews, that... Okay, well. That he didn't hate Jews. It didn't really matter. Actions speak louder than words. Not entirely convinced by this theory, but I'm sure you're onto something. The crust of your theory is really the dinosaur thing. Way too big of a coincidence for the Q to pass by Earth. Take a random dinosaur and put it on. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know how I missed your comment, by the way. They're nomadic species, so they move from place to place. They would have left the vicinity of Earth long after the first visit in the Cretaceous. I'm not entirely sure about the Q being asteromorphs. I think the asteromorphs might have played a hand in the Q's rise. Perhaps the asteromorphs genetically modified the Q into what they became in order to share their own creation in the future. Yeah, could be. Could be. JJAG 3, way back in 2008. Your picture is a Halo picture. It's talked about. Halo 3 came out in 2007. All Tomorrows actually came out in 2006. So Halo 3 wasn't even out yet, brother. So yeah, that was a long time ago. Meatwad.
I get it. It ain't making me laugh, but I get it.
Gravitar just humanity's answer to the Necront. Okay, another one of those. All right, we are. It was long enough ago. I'm not going to bother repeating this. It's going to hide you from the channel. I'll assume it'll get the rest of those. Chocolate Blanc. Yes, more content about All Tomorrows. Thank you. Past Life. I don't hate this theory. Thank you. Glorbo Gibbons. Interesting. Signum and Notice. I thought this too. I thought the Q were just like the Gravitals, but before it was cool. Plus they are flesh colored just like the rest. Yep. Although the coloring could be random. He was trying to make things not look as racially driven. Stephen Hogg, where's my human flesh book? I need to take a dump. That was my outro, as I said. Fergus Meme. Maybe the Q are worm people in the future, or maybe crustaceans who evolved into humans. The worm people are dead. I don't know why a crustacean. Sorry. Don't quite agree with you on that one. John Ballard, according to your theory, humanity did wipe itself out, just not directly. Yep, pretty much. Lord Motos, creator of All Tomorrows, openly amidst his illustration of racist E. Oh. He said they might come off that way, so he switched the colors out so that they might not. He wasn't trying to make them racist. It was just unfortunate. Merrick Star, the first time hearing about this All Tomorrows thing after seeing stuff recommended to it, and this sounds a S-ton like some star control stuff, except with a lot less talking, more fighting, leading to the mass distinction of all races. Yep. Galaxy guess, huh? A reality myth. Okay. Another Q joke. Yep. Maximilian Woldzik, mind blown. Oliver Mendina. It's the word sentience. Tomato. Can't use the things. The author uses the term human sentience in the book. So that's what I mean. I mean sentience the way that every sci-fi writer ever uses the word sentience. Doesn't matter what the dictionary says, because we all know what sentience means. Sapience isn't a replacement word. We looked that up moments ago. Stop it. Get some help. Saint Center. Perhaps humans genetically modified themselves to have all the strength of Earth species without any weaknesses, which would advance their knowledge, allowing these odd humans to come from the future, mixing with all the races. What do you mean, man? L0 United. Big time, something is much bigger and longer than your things you can typically imagine. You mean deep time? But yes. Kilt of Cannon. Stegosaurus. Yes. Terracin, I got a better theory. All humans no longer do any type of work labor and everything is manufactured by androids, including police, doctors, drones, food service, all humans on permanent vacation, effing the shit out of each other until everyone's equally spoiled. The end. Okay, that wasn't not really what happened in the story. Closest is the Summer of Man part. Vorp, nah, with the Jero likes. Harold, wow, just got recommended this and it's a very good video. Thank you, Harold. Timothy Ewan. Is Christianity compatible with the survival of species in deep time? Not if you believe the 6,000-year-old Earth theory. But if you are okay with the Great Cockmaker theory, which is the idea that God snapped his fingers and caused the Big Bang, then that's fine, because we don't know what happened before the Big Bang. And then your deep time would be fine. Random commenter. So in the original timeline, where the Q don't intervene, humans, star people, and the Martians are slowly getting to the stage where the Q are at. The Q would then be made, go back in time and start the time loop. Boom. Timeline, Q don't intervene. Guess you're saying, like, because of the time loop, there would have to be a very first timeline. I would say in the very first timeline, they probably just go back in time because they can. James Webb, Space Telescope. The thing is, by the time the Q attacked the star people, they are described by the author as a billion-year-old species. That might be true. Are they a billion-year-old or several million? Almost a billion years old. Okay, I did think about this one. I remember thinking about this one now. Because they only went 70 million years into the past to get to the Cretaceous period, it wouldn't make sense for them to be a billion years old. But if they're humans from the future, they've already lived billions of years till now. So it still works out. Snazzy Dolphin. My theory is that the author made the entire story up since it's fully modern was cool. I think that's just a mistake that the author didn't really think that through, because there's several like science-based mistakes in All Tomorrows, which is what my second video is about. I don't think he made it up. I don't think the author made it up. And so maybe he has a replica. Crump M. Lee. Dang. Okay. Demasatria. Be funny if the asteromorphs are able to crack the mystery of the universe and start conquering other universes, become even more stronger. I mean, the white hole theory exists. They might be able to crack it and live side by side in a mirror universe, watching another species. Just silly. Yeah, they might. Dr. Downs. We was Q in shite. Okay. Sus. Well, the video's all right, but okay. Thanks. That's me. I made the video and I'm the person presenting, so. Also, how does that really make sense? There wasn't really much to the video. It was just a slideshow of pictures with some music. So, Marvin Martin. Any cool sci-fi books that theorize what happens after Ascension? I'm sure there is. I replied with something. Sequels to 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is true. Explain a pointless cruelty and willingness to inflict horrors on other life forms. Yep. What the WTF horror and sci-fi? It's a username that strikes me as you might have an actual channel here. Yep. Interesting. Cool. People are replying to me liking their stuff, I think. Tenephasis talking about the villager. How I solved the Fermi Paradox. Akrons exist. We are here. We hate you. Especially the Polish. I don't know what Akrons are. What you're talking about. Will Norman Bargo. I like this idea. Thank you, Will. Acro has the Akron, not Acro. Okay. Acro has a tablespoon, but like if they could travel back in time, why TF did they not just travel forward? Because you can travel in time forward in time really easily. You just gotta go really fast, and you can travel faster, and you can go forward in time. It does not require a time machine or anything. Joey Wall, no. This was definitely when I was just upvoting things for no reason. David Gratui, Q aren't humans. They are likely descendants of a. Okay, that's the shrimp thing. Also, opening says they are billions of years old. Yeah, that's what I talked about. Is the asteromorphs were already very old before going back in time. That would explain them being a billion years old. T-Lex source of the spinosaurus, stegosaurus. Around 2002 is going to say the QR metaphor manifestation of our fears and worries. I didn't say that. That is often what authors do in their stories, though. Bei dragonfly. Okay. Their brain, it's part of their brain, but it evolves into wings. And why do you say why they're fleshy? Because they look fleshy and someone else just said they look like damn human torsos. Tell me you look fleshy without telling me you look fleshy. There's no scales. There's no hard exoskeleton. It's fleshy. Laquilia. I think if this story is true, the genetic modification of the therizinosaur was deliberate. It wasn't genetically modified. It just evolved. Them knowing the star people discover this and thereby force their own innovation due to hyperdrive, due to fear of invasion. The star people never had hyperdrive. Which, according to time travel theory supposed to need to happen for the asteromorphs to progress to the point becoming cute. Okay. Removing your like because you... In fact, I will hit you with a dislike because of your name. Tomatoes are just worse cucumbers. Sorry, but I don't believe this theory. The author says the Q evolved in the water. No, he doesn't. No. No, he doesn't. Oh, crap. I closed the theory. I closed the All Tomorrow's PDF. It might have been something he said in like a wiki comment or something. Canon is what appears on screen in the original source material. The nomads. Yeah, it doesn't say anything here about them growing up in the ocean. He might have said that in something else. But until he rewrites the source material, does not matter. Ravi Seth, thanks for using my art. They didn't do the officious one. This is something else. But they're credited in the description. Please don't reach when making a theory. Well, guess what? That's what theory videos are. Not find the theory video on YouTube. That is not some kind of reach. Ted Shatner 10. Similarities between the late asteromorphs and the Q from distant past was due to convergent evolution. By the way, I doubt the Q went extinct. Even if a distant offshoot of the Q was conquered, the Q seemed far too powerful and multidimensional. Say that, but also the asteromorphs have disappeared without a trace. King Fry, welcome to Book Theory. Pretty much. Ace Kit, just another in the cycle of improvement. Humans transforming the Q, humans serve as the advantage, Q mingle. Okay. Yes, that's what I'm going for here, though. Thank you. Moonlight 001. Explore humanity in Warhammer 40k. Probably not. I think there's plenty of channels who cover that stuff. There is Warhammer 40k universe attracts fans that are kind of toxic. So I'm kind of trying to stay out of the Warhammer 40k universe. Tricky Clown 4. No, this is Patrick. Crabman. One question. What happens to the Amphicephalus? Do they go extinct or not? This question is dumb. I don't think it's a dumb question, but it's not answered in the book, so they are probably fine, would be my guess. Infinity Zero. So basically the Hydroise. I don't know what that is. Pinto Red Grizo. Awesome video. Terrifying theory. My only complaint with this video is that the extraterrestrial dinosaur skeleton in the book is there. Dinosaur. Yeah, we clarified this up in this video. Oh, and the picture I showed is a parasaur. I was just trying to use a generic dinosaur bone picture. I wasn't sure if we even had bones of a therizinosaurus. Also, what post-human in the second human era would you want to be? I would want to be a killer folk because they're furries, basically. Easy. No, they're just some alien plot device to get the story started. Yeah. Not wrong. Gerard Jones. This would actually makes sense since the asteromorphs are used to flying but can't function on planets only in zero gravity. They modified themselves into the Q and possibly evolved since said they're 1 billion years old and perhaps played the role of the bad guys to benefit themselves, making a time. Yep. Rang Gordal. Honestly, this is a fun theory with loads of potential, but now I'm wondering if the other alien species the Q played with has descended of the dinosaurs sent off to different planets. As far as we know, they only messed with one dinosaur, that therizinosaur, and they didn't mess with it, they just moved it and then evolved on that planet. Because the Q only messed with like intelligent life, mass and light. And here I thought I was the original with this theory. Oh, if this was an accusation, or you're just saying you didn't make a theory video on this, so I don't think it's an accusation, but yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. That's fine. Helios Le Gigantosaur. I think the same idea. Jelly. If the asteromorphs didn't really care about humans, I don't see a reason why they go back in time to make them stronger. They can make their present self stronger. Yeah, this gives them even more time. It would make their present self stronger in retroactively, right? It's the other way around, not a direct heritage, but more of a spiritual shadow. And damaged by the actor and the end of the creek of how. Yeah, okay. Not to forget that the Q are greatly diverse. No, they're not. Maybe they're amalgamation of humans and intergalactic aliens meet. No, this is that misinformation again, where people think all the pictures in the Q, they think that all these are Q, but no, this is Q. It says right here. Maybe the real Q were the friends we made along the way. Someone else made that joke. I guess this is the first one though. So okay, well, we are getting removed from the channel. Can't tell if that says something. Don't care. Shadow Lord Dragon. The monster in the thumbnail reminds me of this little short film I saw. I guess he's talking about the Q. Don't have time to read the whole thing though. Not much left of my voice, and actually I have to get ready to go to work here soon, so we gotta hurry. Roman Reign. Gonna use someone's art. It is credited. It's filmed. I don't know what this is. Raptor Red Angel Yo. Noonie Campia. Imagine there would be some humans who, after finding out about the Q, are worshipping them. I don't know. The Q just kind of killed everyone, though. I think even if you start worshipping them, they would just turn you into a poop brick. Very interesting video. Good quality, too. It was okay quality. I'm getting a lot better now, though. It was my first time doing something like this. G-Dog. But thank you, Stepdad. I think the Q are demons. Seen a lot of horror games. Those things scared me. I think those things like the Q did. They could be. I don't think so, though. I imagine the name origin. Human, Q-Man, Q. Interesting idea. Like a scared face. So it's just an infinite time loop. Yeah, sure. Papa Biscuit. I think the loop you noticed was intentional, but not the way you described it. Hey, we're almost done. I see as more as humans following in the Q's footsteps, becoming gene-modifying pools. I guess the natural endpoint of advanced species, not that they're exact same species human does become the Q. That's the most likely situation. And Datagiro, ALR, I don't know what that means. Hear me out. Instead of humans, all right, I guess. It's a weird abbreviation. Instead of humans going directly back in time to turn star people into gaming chairs. Gaming chairs. Someone else said something chair. I guess they're talking about the colonials. They get confused. Oh, wait, we wouldn't want to become the fart guys without these guys. They genetically modify the cumulative Q and send them back. No, clearly you're not human. Not necessarily. It doesn't say. Nice. It says a name. Death is near. Seen that story and it's terrifying AF. Yep. All right, here I am in post. My webcam's probably not in the same place or anything, but let's look at our poll. It's been a couple of days since I posted, 3 days. Is 2008 a long time ago? 78% say yes, 22% say no, and with 76 votes. That's actually pretty good. So, yeah, 3/4 of people think it's a long time ago, so it is a long time ago. I do declare it. Also, we just need to call someone out real quick. Let me remember how we're going to find this person. They're going to be in the comments. Not someone I haven't responded to. Ceaseless discharge saying sapience. We talked about this. Sapience doesn't mean what you think it means. The book uses the word sentient, so we're going to use the word sentience. Read the book and look up what the word sapience actually means, because it doesn't mean what we think it means. Common misconception. Carry on. Hey, we're done. Okay. My voice is killing me. This video is 3 hours and 30 minutes long. I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to trim out of it. But there you go. That is my Q&A recap of the All Tomorrow's The Q or Human Theory to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the video. I thank you all for your support over the years with this video. It's really awesome to see. I love it. So thank you. And until next time, I hope you all have a good day.